Chapter 1277. You've lived long enough, I'll send you on your way. Hua Xiqin smiled evilly. Bastard, how dare you? Hua Zhenghai never thought that Hua Xiqin would dare to attack him so openly. He wanted to fight back, but there was nothing he could do. He was injected all day and had no strength left in his body. Hua Xiqin walked over and looked at Hua Zhenghai one last time. Leave the Hua Corporation to me, you can go in peace. Dad. After speaking, Hua Xiqin lifted a pillow with both hands and covered Hua Zhenghai's face with it. Hua Zhenghai struggled with all his might, but it was to no avail. In less than 3 minutes, Hua Zhenghai stopped struggling after that. His hands slowly fell. Hua Xiqin removed the pillow and looked at Hua Zhenghai's pale face. He pulled the blanket up a little. Dad, have a good dream. He smiled faintly and slowly walked out of the room. When he reached the door, he raised his hand, turned on the switch, and took out a small listening device. Then, he went downstairs. Sir, you're not staying for dinner? The maid asked. No, my dad's asleep, don't disturb him. Call me if you need anything. Okay, sir. Then, Hua Xiqin drove his Rolls-Royce Welcome out of the suburban mansion. After Hua Min got into the car, he didn't say a word. Qin Chu raised his hand and touched her face. Are you in a bad mood? Hua Zhenghai is dying. Yeah, isn't that normal? Hua Xiqin never lets go of the people he wants to deal with. It's his style to eliminate the source of trouble. Qin Chu thought that it was normal. It would be strange if Hua Xiqin was willing to let Hua Zhenghai live and feed him. I told him about that. You did. Aren't you afraid that Hua Xiqin has planted a bug in the room? Hua Mian shook her head. I'm not afraid. I think Hua Xiqin knows about my past anyway, so I might as well tell Hua Zhenghai everything. He also confirmed some things from back then. What is it? Uncle Jing isn't that simple. I'm also curious, if he brought me back to pretend to be a child of the Hua family, then where did the real child go? This matter can't be investigated in a short period of time. Don't worry. Qin Chu reached out his hand and placed it on the back of Hua Min's hand to comfort him. Right now, the biggest worry in Hua Min's heart was the mystery of his birth. Rick also told Qin Chu to stop investigating. All the clues about Hua Min's background had been cut off, and all the people who had investigated the matter had disappeared. This was not a good sign. However, Qin Chu had been secretly investigating this matter, because he didn't want Hua Min to have any regrets. I'm fine, honey, you don't have to worry about me. Hua Min hugged Qin Chu's arm with both hands. You're speaking so clearly, are you sober now? Qin Chu was both angry and amused. I think I'm sober now. After all this, it was already midnight. Hua Min didn't feel dizzy or nauseous anymore. It seemed like his alcohol tolerance was also increasing. After returning to South Hill Manor, the two of them went to bed early. The next morning, the headline spread throughout Sea City. Hua Zhenghai, the chairman of the Hua Corporation, passed away in his private mansion last night. Hua Min's heart skipped a beat. Although they weren't related by blood, hearing the news of his death was still heartbreaking. Hua Min had just gotten out of bed to wash her face when she received a call from her mother. Mian, did you see the news? Yeah, I just saw it. Is it true? Is he really dead? Yang Meirong's voice trembled. Mom, wait for me, I'll go see you right away. Sky Blessing Court, Yang Meirong grabbed onto Hua Min's hand. Mian, what happened? How did it happen so fast? I didn't hear anything about him being hospitalized. How did he die? Chapter 1278. Mom, he's really dead. Hua Min held his mother's hand tightly, but he could feel that his mother's fingers had no warmth at all. No matter how much she hated him, she was once deeply in love with Hua Zhenghai, so she must be feeling terrible right now, right? Yang Meirong stumbled and took a few steps back. She lost her balance and almost fell down. Luckily, Huamin reacted quickly and immediately supported her. "Mom, are you okay?" How did he?" Yang Meirong choked up. "Mom, he was already in poor health, and now that his business is a mere figurehead and Hua Xiqian has all the power, he might have been too anxious." Huamin comforted his mother. "That old bastard, he really has a good life. He didn't suffer much and he passed away. He still owes me so much. I thought I could see him in a more miserable state in his later years and mock him, but he didn't even give me the chance." Yang Meirong didn't mean what she said. "Mom, I saw him yesterday." "You saw him?" Yang Meirong was a little surprised. Huamin nodded. "Yeah, when I went to see him yesterday, he wasn't in a good state. He was on an 4 drip and didn't eat much." "Did he say anything to you?" "He said he was sorry." "What's the point of saying that now?" Yang Meirong sat on the sofa and wiped her tears. Huamin took out a jade ring from his bag and handed it to his mother. "This is..." Yang Meirong looked at the ring and hesitated. "This is something he always carried around with him. He told me to give it to you as a memento." "That bastard, he didn't even let me rest in peace. Who wants to remember him?" Yang Meirong cried even harder as she took the jade ring from his hand. It seemed like she still couldn't accept the news that Hua Jinghai was dead. "I'm going to the funeral with Qin Chu tomorrow. Do you want to come?" Huamin asked quietly. Yang Meirong didn't say anything, but her tears continued to fall. "It's good to send him on his last journey. Even if he dies. Let's forget everything that happened in the past, Mom." "Okay, I'll go with you." In the end, no one knew if it was because of Huamin's words or if it was because Yang Meirong had thought things through. She nodded, indicating that she wanted to attend the funeral with them. The next morning, Hua Jinghai's funeral was held. A long line of people walked out of the Hua residence. As the eldest son, Hua Xiqian held his father's portrait and walked at the front. Behind him were Huamin and Hua Yanyan, both wearing white mourning cloths on their heads. The truth was, Huamin wasn't obligated to wear a mourning cloth for Hua Jinghai. After all, she wasn't his daughter to begin with. However, outsiders didn't know about Huamin's background, so she still had to attend as Hua Jinghai's daughter. Jiang Hong looked sad. She walked slowly with the help of 2 maids. Qin Chu stayed by Yang Meirong's side, carefully taking care of her. Today's weather was exceptionally good. Although it was cold, they could see the blue sky and white clouds that they hadn't seen in a long time. Everyone was dressed in black, and they marched from the Hua family mansion to the cemetery. There were a total of 100 black luxury cars. It was quite a grand occasion. What was rare was that Song Yishe also came. She walked beside Hua Xiqian. She was expressionless. She didn't care about Huamin, no matter how many people died. However, she had to be careful of the media. Therefore, her father was right. She had to pretend for a while. Song Yishe and Huamin looked at each other. She turned her head away and ignored Huamin. She didn't have any intention of speaking. Huamin didn't want to talk to her either. Just like that, the group of people sent Hua Jinghai's body to the North Mountain Cemetery. They buried him next to the elders of the Hua family, which was the Hua family's ancestral grave. It was already noon by the time they were done. Hua Xiqian set up 100 tables at a 5-star hotel and invited guests to a funeral banquet. Huamin wasn't in the mood. After sending his mother home with Qin Chu, he asked for half a day off to rest at home. Qin Chu, on the other hand, went to the company after sending Huamin home. Huamin fainted in South Hill Manor for the entire afternoon. When she woke up, it was almost dark. She put on her robe and went downstairs to warm herself in front of the fireplace. The north wind in the depths of winter couldn't be described as cold. It could freeze people to death. South Hill Manor had plenty of heating, but because the living room was too big, it was still a little cold. Huamin sat in front of the fireplace, warming herself while drinking milk. Suddenly, her phone rang. She opened it and saw that it was a WeChat message from Jiang Xiaowei. She said, "Mian, Suyu is back." Chapter 1279. Oh. Huamin's reaction was relatively calm. Suyu hadn't been gone for a long time. She heard that he was only down south for about 20 days. Now that he calculated the days, it was almost time, so it wasn't strange for him to come back. "Let's have dinner together tonight, are you coming?" "I'm not going, you guys go ahead." As long as Suyu was around, Huamin would still subconsciously avoid him. She didn't want her husband to feel uncomfortable, she also didn't want Suyu to have the wrong impression that she was interested in him. Flirting wasn't in her character, she always drew a clear line between kindness and hatred. On the other side, Jiang Xiaowei hung up the phone. Tang Chuan quickly asked, "Sister-in-law, what did Huamin say? Is she coming?" "I told you she wasn't coming." "Give me the money, give me the money." Jiang Xiaowei reached out her hand. Tang Chuan helplessly took out 1,000 yuan from his wallet and handed it over. Wei Liao had just changed and walked out. "What money?" "I made a bet with sister-in-law that Huamin would come, but I lost." Tang Chuan sighed. "Is your brain fried? Do you even need to bet? Even if you think with your ass, you know Huamin won't come. She's been avoiding Lord Su, you know that. But Lord Su hasn't been back for almost a month. Even if they're normal friends, they would still come to welcome Lord Su, right?" Tang Chuan argued. "Too bad, they're not normal friends." Jiang Xiaowei happily put the 1,000 yuan into her bag. The advantage of being friends with rich people was that they could cheat money out of them anytime. Jiang Xiaowei made a lot of money in a year just by making bets. "All right, stop wasting time. Let's go and see what Lord Su looks like now." Tang Chuan was the first to turn and leave. The three of them sat in the RV driven by Wei Liao's driver. They went to the Phoenix restaurant together. Wei Liao had already reserved a place to welcome Suyu. As soon as they reached the entrance, they saw a pure white sports car driving towards them from afar. Then, with a creak, it stopped at the entrance of the restaurant. Tang Chuan couldn't hold back his excitement. He jumped out of the RV, looked at the logo, and exclaimed, "Fuck. Bugatti Veyron, limited edition. Lord Su, can you not be so awesome?" Suyu opened the car door and got out. It was late winter, but he only wore a casual shirt. The design was very novel and unique. It made Suyu look even more attractive. Only Lord Su can afford a $50 million car in the whole of Sea City. Wei Liao exclaimed as he carried Jiang Xiaowei out of the car. "Not necessarily, the guy at GK can afford it too," Tang Chuan added. "No one will think you're mute if you don't talk." Su Yu's face darkened. Hearing Qin Chu's name as soon as he came back was quite depressing. Then, the four of them entered the restaurant and went straight to the VIP room on the top floor. Wei Liao, Tang Chuan, and Su Yu gave each other a manly hug. "I think you're tanned." Jiang Xiaowei smiled as she looked at Su Yu. "The South China Sea is sunny every day, 34.5 degrees. Of course I'm tanned. To be honest, even a polar bear would turn into a black bear spirit." Su Yu said it in all seriousness. His slightly tanned skin looked even more masculine. "Ha ha ha ha. Lord Su, you're being naughty again." Tang Chuan wasn't easily amused. "I'll order, you guys talk." Jiang Xiaowei picked up the menu and flipped through it. The three men began to chat. "Lord Su, did you get anything from your trip to the South China Sea?" Tang Chuan asked with a mischievous smile. "What did I get?" Su Yu knew there was a hidden meaning in his words. Tang Chuan licked his lips sneakily. Of course he's asking about women. From what he said, what else could it be? Wei Liao added. Chapter 1280. Su Yu poured himself a glass of beer and lamented, "Let me tell you guys, Nanhai is a godforsaken place. How can there be a woman in that godforsaken place? That's where the military is stationed. Even the military dogs in that godforsaken place are male, how can there be a woman?" Tang Chuan, Wei Liao, Jiang Shaowei, then, the three of them laughed in unison. Then it must be hard for you to rely on your own hands to solve your biological problems. Tang Chuan smiled seductively. Go away, don't talk nonsense. Dr. Jiang is here. Su Yu was a little embarrassed. It's okay, you guys tell me. I'll take a short video for you guys. Maybe it'll go viral if I post it on WeChat. Jiang Shaowei waved her phone around. No, no, no. Sister-in-law, don't post it on WeChat. If my dad sees me, he'll teach me a lesson. Tang Chuan wasn't as free these days. His dad told him to go to the company to study, so he slacked off. He would clock in the morning and clock out again when he got off work. Did anything big happen at home? Su Yu downed a glass of beer in one gulp. He immediately felt great. Yeah, Song Yisher and Hua Xiqian got married, did you know? Tang Chuan said in a teasing tone. I heard. Su Yu nodded. Although he was thousands of miles away, he paid attention to the news in the city every day. Song Yisher and Hua Xiqian got married. It was such a big deal that the media all over the country reported on it. How could he not know? The old man of the Hua Corporation passed away. The funeral was held this morning, Wei Liao added. Yeah, I heard someone talking about it when I got off the plane. Hua Xiqian is amazing. Now that there's no one left at the Hua Corporation, he's sitting on top of it all. Su Yu didn't like Hua Xiqian. He always felt that Hua Xiqian was a person who was always smiling on the surface, but on the inside, he was full of evil. Therefore, even when Hua Xiqian occasionally took the initiative to talk to him about business, he always ignored him. That's all. Oh, there's one more thing about Hua Min, do you want to hear it? Tang Chuan asked. Su Yu, awkwardly, he lowered his head. If you don't want to hear it, then I won't tell you. Tang Chuan purposely, how dare you? Hurry up and tell me. Su Yu couldn't hold it in anymore. Tang Chuan's, Hua Xiqian B, was, Hua Min, Hua. Jiang Shaowei was puzzled. There hadn't been any news about Mian lately. She didn't know what Tang Chuan was going to reveal. Hua Min. I don't know what's in his head, but he's a psycho. She just received the 2016 Most Outstanding Doctor Award from the International Red Cross Society. Huh? When did that happen? How come I didn't know about it? Jiang Shaowei froze. I don't think she knows about it herself. Didn't I date a girl from Finland before? She's a doctor too, so she's very interested in this area. I wanted to find common topics with her, so I followed some of the official medical departments on IN. When I refreshed the page this morning, I saw the official announcement. They probably haven't notified Hua Min yet, right? Or maybe they did, but she doesn't understand English. Who knows? What kind of award is it? Is it of little value? Wei Liao didn't understand. Jiang Shaowei explained, it's not of little value, it's a very important award. A while ago, Hua Min wrote an article, and we spent the night looking for some specialized terms to translate and mail it to her. It's an article that calls for the world to pay attention to autistic children. It contains a lot of academic and personal opinions from Hua Min, and it might have been accepted by the officials. She's really good. Wei Liao nodded, expressing his appreciation. This is nothing. Previously, the China Medical Association gave her the highest achievement award as a doctor, the Chinese Doctor Award. There were also awards and trophies, but she didn't show them off. Her assistant put them all up in her office, but the hospital put up a banner to celebrate her. I heard that President Wu gave her a personal bonus of 500,000 yuan. I suspect that Huamin isn't even from Earth. Tang Chuan said. Then, he looked at Su Yu and asked, Lord Su, what do you think about this? Chapter 1281. Su Yu's gaze was slightly complicated. He pretended to be calm and replied, she's pretty good, she's pretty good. Perfunctory. Is it that hard for you to evaluate Huamin? Tang Chuan laughed. I also think that Lord Su has become a lot more shy after coming back this time. Wei Liao looked at Su Yu with a thoughtful gaze. Jiang Xiaowei laughed on the side. The three of them having a gathering was really hilarious. Each of them had a more sarcastic mouth than the other. They never had a pleasant conversation. Basically, unless they didn't speak, they would either be sarcastic or mocking. They could be called the worst friends. The key was that they had known each other for too long. It wasn't an exaggeration at all. They could really start from when they were naked. Therefore, under normal circumstances, Su Yu wouldn't take Tang Chuan and Wei Liao's words to heart. He wouldn't really get angry, because he had gotten used to it over the years. Shy my ass. Aren't you guys making things difficult for me? How am I supposed to evaluate Huamin? In my eyes, she's great in every way. But I don't know if you guys think the same way. Su Yu spoke his mind very generously. Ioyo. Great in every way. Lord Su, you really. I don't know what kind of potion Huamin gave you. You're really hopeless. I thought that after you came back from the south, you would forget the past and start over. It seems like you went to the South Sea for nothing. Tang Chuan continued to mock him. Su Yu looked innocent. When did I say that I would forget the past after going to the South Sea? Your imagination is really rich. Also, I was just accompanying my grandfather for a walk, not drinking Meng Po's soup at the Bridge of Helplessness. Don't make it sound so ridiculous, okay? Okay, I won't mock you. Anyway, if you still like Huamin, then so be it. I think, you still have a long way to go. Qin Chu shouldn't be too arrogant. Who knows who will be the most glorious one day. Tang Chuan's jingles were so good that Jiang Xiaowei was almost speechless. Alright, stop bragging. Come on, let's drink. It wasn't that Su Yu didn't want to talk about Huamin, but he didn't want to talk about Huamin as a joke. Because he decided to keep Huamin in his heart from now on. If I can't forget, then I won't. If I like him, then I'll continue to like him. Be like a man. He wasn't guilty. The guilty thing was that he was a step too late. In Huamin's world, he appeared too late. He was a full 7 years later than Qin Chu, which was why he lost so badly, but it didn't matter. Su Yu had thought a lot about this trip down south. Liking someone didn't necessarily mean possessing her. Actually, for Su Yu, it was already good enough to see her occasionally and hear about her recent situation from his friends. When he heard that she had won an award, he was happy for her. When he heard that she was in trouble, he was able to help her. When he heard that she was in a bad mood, his imagination would run wild. No matter when and where you were, there would always be someone who touched your heart. It would make you feel that ever since you had her in your life, life had become colorful, and even tomorrow was worth looking forward to. That was it. Su Yu left for more than 20 days. He had just returned and was in a very good mood. He also drank a lot. Tang Chuan had always been a good drinker, and he rarely got drunk. He was the kind of person who was born with talent and training. Jiang Xiaowei also relaxed the policy for Wei Liao, which was rare, and allowed him to drink more. After all, Lord Su was back, and today was special. Thus, the few of them opened their hearts and drank a lot of beer. After a while, one box was gone. Suyu seemed to want more, and asked the waiter to bring another box. Jiang Xiaowei secretly took a photo of the three of them and posted it on her WeChat moments. Then, she added the words, "Lord Su is back, the long-awaited atmosphere. These three have become drunkards, please adopt them." Chapter 1282. Huamin was playing on his phone at South Hill Manor when he saw Jiang Xiaowei's post. Suyu had his head lowered, and only the side of his face could be seen. His right hand had long slender fingers, and between his index and middle fingers was a cigarette. Perhaps it was because she rarely hung out with Suyu, so she hadn't seen him smoke much. To be honest, he was quite handsome. A person like Suyu was the best in terms of looks, ability, personality, and wealth. He was the best of the best. If it weren't for Qin Chu, Huamin might have been tempted. After all, Suyu treated her so well. However, there were no ifs in life, only consequences and results. Now that she had someone better, she wouldn't be so greedy. She generously liked Jiang Xiaowei's WeChat post. Jiang Xiaowei smiled and didn't say anything. She didn't tell Suyu that Huamin liked her post either. This was because Jiang Xiaowei and Zhu Lingling were both fans of Mr. Qin. They were both envious of the love between childhood sweethearts, so they especially supported Qin Chu and Huamin as a super couple. During the banquet, the three of them drank a lot, and the atmosphere reached its peak. Tang Chuan complained, "Look at the three of us, why are our lives so twisted? We're almost like monks. We haven't had sex in a long time, right?" Wei Liao froze and looked at Tang Chuan with disdain. "No way. Lord Su has someone in his heart, so he's been abstinent for a long time. Xiao Wei is pregnant, so I don't dare to do anything. You're a free man, how can you be like us? It's normal for someone like you to change every night. Don't mention it. I haven't been feeling well recently, so I went to a Chinese doctor to recuperate." Tang Chuan looked bitter. "That's what you get for showing off." Wei Liao smiled proudly. Suyu also smiled but didn't say anything. I can't harm my body like that in the future. My body is mine, but I can't have as many women as I want. I need to take good care of myself. Now do you know why so many ancient emperors died prematurely in their middle age? Xianfeng, Tongji, Guangxu and the others all died at a young age. Suyu asked meaningfully. Jiang Xiaowei almost spat out a mouthful of mineral water. "You guys are so dirty." Even Dr. Jiang, who had always been extremely calm, wanted to complain. "Honey, they are just like that. You have to get used to it." Wei Liao hugged Jiang Xiaowei's shoulder and comforted her. By the time the three of them finished drinking, it was almost 11 p.m. When they walked out of the restaurant, they were all a little drunk. "Lord Su, we'll give you a ride first," Tang Chuan offered. "It's okay, I'm fine. I can drive slowly back." Suyu refused and got into the white Bugatti. Wei Liao looked at Suyu's pace and said to Tang Chuan, "Don't worry, Lord Su can drink a lot. Even though he drank a little more than usual, he can still drive. He knows his limits." Tang Chuan was relieved to hear Wei Liao's words. Then, the three of them left in the RV. Wei Liao and his wife drove Tang Chuan back to his mansion before going home. Suyu, on the other hand, drove his sports car slowly around the city. For some reason, after the fun, he felt a little depressed. A black BYD sped past Suyu. Then, the car owner curiously slowed down and looked back at the luxury car behind him. "Fuck, is that a Bugatti Veyron? The legendary car that costs tens of millions. But, why is it so slow? Even a Bugatti can't compare to my BYD. Not more than 3 seconds had passed since he finished speaking. He heard the roar of the engine, followed by a vroom. An indistinct white figure whizzed past with a whoosh. He didn't even see what it was. When he realized what was going on, he focused his eyes and took a closer look. The Bugatti was already gone. Would Suyu drive a sports car without speeding? That was impossible. Even though the alcohol was boiling in his blood, his mind was still very clear. Suyu sped all the way to the most scenic mountaintop in Sea City. After parking the car, he got out and leaned against the sports car while smoking. He took out his phone and quickly entered the number that he couldn't be more familiar with. Right now, he really wanted to hear her voice. Chapter 1283. Just as he was about to dial, Suyu suddenly had the urge to play a prank on her, so he used the phone app he downloaded on his phone to hide his number before dialing. Huamin's phone rang. She looked at the messy number and didn't think it was a normal phone number. However, it kept ringing, so she hesitated for a moment before picking it up. Hello. Huamin's crisp voice came from the other end of the phone. Suyu felt his heart race. Then, he calmed himself down and deliberately said, Hello, Miss Hua, I'm from XX Personal Insurance Company. Would you like to buy insurance for yourself? Huamin froze for a second before realizing what he was talking about. She asked, So, the big boss of Imperial Star Entertainment isn't the CEO anymore and is selling insurance. Suyu, how did you know it was me? Suyu suddenly felt that it was a waste of time. She guessed it right away. He thought that Huamin would immediately hang up when she heard that it was an insurance company. Because your voice is quite recognizable. You can't fool me. Huamin smiled. Ha, okay, genius, I'm impressed. Suyu smiled calmly. His tone also became much more relaxed. Huamin was pleasantly surprised that she could immediately recognize his voice. At least in Huamin's eyes, he wasn't a passerby. I heard that you just came back today. Yeah. Suyu nodded. How are you? Are you okay? I'm good, but I'm a lot more tanned. Suyu smiled. The situation in the South China Sea has been quite tense recently. Your grandpa sent such a huge military commander over. I thought there was going to be a war. A war? Suyu froze. Yeah, we're dealing with the Philippines. It's their fault for coveting our South China Sea territory. You're concerned about national affairs? Suyu asked with interest. Everyone is responsible for the rise and fall of the world. Huamin smiled. Then don't worry, there won't be a war. That poor country isn't worth the effort of our great country. If we really wanted to destroy it, would we need my grandpa's army? With the help of the Air Force and Navy, it wouldn't even take an hour. Huamin smiled but didn't say anything. How have you been? Suyu asked awkwardly. Yeah, I'm good. I heard, you won a foreign award. Suyu didn't remember what award Tang Chuan was talking about, so he asked vaguely. Okay. Huamian nodded. Congratulations. Thank you. Huamian was still polite. Hua asses tuzes. Suyu knew that if they continued to chat, there would be nothing to talk about and it would only make things more awkward, so he hung up the phone. After hanging up, Suyu looked at the photo on his phone screensaver with a gentle gaze. If Huamin was his girlfriend and was always by his side, would he die of happiness? He had never envied anyone in his life. It was always others who envied him. But at this moment, he was especially envious of Qin Chu, because he could have Huamin so openly. To Suyu, this was such a luxury. Suyu used to think that he was super rich, but now, he felt that Huamin was a luxury that he could never afford. He put his phone in his pocket, put out his cigarette, walked to the edge of the cliff at the top of the mountain, and suddenly shouted into the open space, Huamin, I love you. Huamin, I really love you. Huamin, do you know that I, Suyu, love you very much? After shouting 3 times, Suyu finally shouted out all the words that had accumulated in his heart for so long. He used this method to vent the emotions in his heart. But, could Huamin hear him? After venting, Suyu felt much better. He drove home to sleep. The next morning at the headquarters of Imperial Star Entertainment, as soon as Suyu entered the president's office, his assistant, and hurried in and reported mysteriously, President Su, something big happened. Chapter 1284. What's the matter? Don't make a fuss. Suyu had always been a fearless person, so there was really nothing that could make him feel like the sky was falling. Of course, Huamin's matter was an exception. Madam came a few days ago, and then, she personally ordered a beauty audition in the name of the company. It's called The Most Beautiful Girl in Sea City, and now the auditions are over. There are 20,000 people from all over the country who signed up, and now there are less than 32 left after the screening. Madam decided to go through the auditions and finally choose a champion. Suyu didn't think much of it. As an entertainment company, don't we often do such talent shows to create celebrities? What's so strange about it? But this time is different. And was a little troubled. Suyu walked to his desk indifferently and quickly turned on his laptop. What's different? This time, not only do we look at looks, but we also look at education, IQ, personality, family background. So? Suyu raised his head and looked at it in confusion. So? Madam isn't doing a talent show for the company. She's obviously choosing a concubine for you. Pfft. Suyu almost vomited blood. Choosing a concubine for him. Since when was he willing to do such a melodramatic thing? Who said so? Suyu looked at it and asked. Although Madam didn't say it explicitly, we can all see it. Normally, our company's talent show would be covered by the media, but this time, it's super low-key. Madam said that she wants to choose the final champion in a low-key manner, and then. I think that person will be Madam's ideal daughter-in-law. Suyu was speechless. After hearing En's words, Suyu fell completely silent. Suyu liked his mother very much because Lady Su was very sensible and was a very warm mother. She would never force her child to do things that he didn't like. He didn't expect his mother to come to the company while he was down south. And they even arranged such a strange show, The Most Beautiful Girl. 32 out of 20,000 people, what a talent. All right, I got it. So, do you still want to continue this activity? Even the assistant, Shaoan, found it ridiculous. Let's stop for a while. Let me talk to my mother first before we make a decision. Suyu was drunk last night and came home late, so he didn't have time to talk to his mother. Who would have thought that the old lady would create such a mess? Suyu felt a headache just thinking about it. Why would he choose beauty? If he really wanted to look at looks, then, there were tons of artists under Imperial Star, and all of them were unbelievably beautiful. Huamin's looks were not enough to cause the downfall of a nation. It was more about his temperament. Important things have to be repeated thrice. Suyu felt that it was hard to find someone in this world who had such a strong personality and aura like Huamin. If Huamin was a man, he would definitely be very capable and achieve great things in his career. The main thing was that no matter what she learned, she was exceptionally fast. It simply made those who worked hard to learn want to bang their heads against the wall at any moment. So, where did these crazy genes come from? Was it really the Hua family? It didn't seem like it. Hua Zhenghai was a cunning businessman, but his IQ and EQ were average. The only person that the Hua family could rely on right now was Hua Xiqian, but she wasn't Hua Zhenghai's biological daughter. So, why did the Hua family's genes suddenly change when it came to Huamin? Suyu had been racking his brains, but he still couldn't figure it out. He still didn't know that Huamin wasn't Hua Zhenghai's daughter, Later, when the truth about Huamin's identity was revealed, Suyu met the real Huamin's family. Only then did he realize that her genes were crazy to the extreme. Every single one of them was very powerful. Southside Recuperation Center. Huamin was busy the entire morning. When she was about to go to the cafeteria for lunch break, she saw a familiar-looking lady walking over. Auntie Sue, why are you here? Lady Sue always came and went like a ghost. Huamin was quite surprised, but she knew that Lady Sue wouldn't come looking for her for no reason. Something must have happened. Child, are you free? Have lunch with me. Lady Sue smiled elegantly. Chapter 1285. Okay. Huamin nodded and finally agreed. Because in Huamin's eyes, Lady Sue had always been a sensible person, she wasn't the type to cause trouble for no reason. Huamin had a good impression of Lady Sue. He always felt that she was very friendly and didn't keep a distance from him. The two didn't go far. Instead, they ordered some food at a quiet Hong Kong restaurant near the hospital. Auntie Sue, did you need something from me? Huamin couldn't help but take the initiative to ask. Yeah. Lady Sue nodded. Then, she said, did you know that Yu-Her is back? Yeah, I heard. Before he came back, I went to his company and launched an event called The Most Beautiful Girl. This event was held secretly, so not many media outlets reported on it. This time, I want to choose the most outstanding girl out of tens of thousands of girls. She's beautiful, well-educated, has a high IQ and EQ, and has a good education. She'll be Yu's girlfriend. But, will he agree? Huamin knew Suyu very well. With his fiery temper, he probably wouldn't agree to what his mother was doing, right? Yes, he won't agree. That's why I came to see you. You came to see me. What can I do for you? Huamin was a little surprised. You can. After speaking, Lady Sue held Huamin's hand and said, Child, I know that Yu likes you a lot and that his heart is filled with your shadow. But you and your husband are so loving right now. You won't divorce or break up. With your personality, you won't betray him. So, I don't think Yu has a chance. Instead of letting his one-sided love continue, why don't you find a new friend to replace him and let him forget you little by little? I hope so too. Huamin nodded. She was speaking from the bottom of her heart. She really hoped that Suyu could forget about her and live his life well. But my Yu is stubborn. He doesn't listen to anyone. When he was in the South China Sea, he even had an argument with his grandfather over a blind date. They parted on bad terms. So, I think you're the only one who can persuade him now. So you want me to persuade Suyu to let the audition continue until the end? That's right. I'm really sorry to say this. This is our family's business, but we had to drag you into it for no reason. I don't want to make things difficult for you. My child, I just want to ask you for a favor. As Suyu's mother, I really feel sorry for his stubbornness. Lady Sue said sincerely. Huamin could clearly feel Lady Sue's heartache for her son. Although he really shouldn't get involved in this matter, but, if he could help, helping Lady Sue was also helping Suyu. It should be the best of both worlds, right? After hesitating for a moment, Huamin nodded. Auntie Sue, I'll try. It might not work, but I'll try my best. Thank you, my child, you're welcome. I'm very happy to be able to help you and Suyu. You're really a very good girl. Unfortunately, Yu doesn't have the fortune. Lady Sue's eyes couldn't hide her love for Huamin. She really liked this girl. She was sensible, not pretentious, and most importantly, she was real. Auntie Sue, don't say that. I'm not good enough for Suyu. Your Su family is a noble family. A commoner like me can't match up to you. You don't have to be so polite with me. What noble family? Our family's requirements are very simple. As long as you likes it, our whole family will like it. Lady Su smiled, then I'll leave this matter to you. Before leaving, Lady Su didn't forget to remind him. Okay. Huamin nodded. After returning to the hospital, there were still 15 minutes before work. Huamin picked up his phone and sent a voice message to Qin Chu. Honey, what are you doing? I just finished a meeting. What about you? I just finished eating. Honey, I have something that I need your approval for. Ha. Speak. I want to meet Suyu. Huamin made this request with trembling hands. He didn't know if Mr. Qin would be jealous. It was really torturous. Chapter 1286. Qin Chu, honey, repeat what you just said. Huamin, honey, I have something I need your approval for. Ha. Qin Chu, no. Huamin, honey, you can't do that. Qin Chu, honey, I can spoil you for anything, but cheating on you is not allowed. You must be nipped in the bud. Huamin, no, don't think too much about it. To be honest, Lady Su came to see me today. Qin Chu, why did she come to see you? Huamin, she said she's starting an audition for beautiful women, but in reality, she's looking for a girlfriend for Suyu. She's afraid that her son won't agree, so she asked me to persuade Suyu. Qin Chu, you can do something that even his mother can't do. Then you have a higher status than his mother. Huamin, Qin Chu, when do we meet? Huamin, wow, honey, you agree. Qin Chu, I want to go with you. Huamin, Qin Chu, I can wait in the car. Huamin, honey, I'm so touched. I thought you'd scold me for being a busybody. Qin Chu, no, I know you have your reasons for doing things. Huamin, moi, honey, I love you. Qin Chu, love can't be said with words. Huamin, Qin Chu, just work hard tonight. Show me your sincerity. Huamin, don't worry, honey, I'll be very sincere. Qin Chu, then you can arrange to meet him. I'll send you there. I'll wait for you in the car. I'll give you 1 hour. Huamin, oh yeah, long live my husband. Huamin knew that Qin Chu wasn't someone who couldn't see the big picture, so he said that he was jealous. But deep down, he trusted Huamian. Since she dared to tell Qin Chu that she wanted to meet Suyu, Huamian didn't mind at all. Then there must be nothing going on. Moreover, it was Qin Chu who sent her there. After the application was completed, Huamin wanted to contact Suyu, but he suddenly realized that he didn't have Suyu's phone number or WeChat. Huamin didn't want to alarm Xiaowei and the others. In the end, he decided to log into Weibo. I sent a private message to Suyu. Are you there? Suyu immediately replied, yes. Are you free tonight? Why did this sound like a date? Suyu only felt that happiness came too suddenly. Yes. After suppressing the ecstasy in his heart, Suyu calmly replied. Let's meet up, I want to talk to you. Sure, you can choose the place. Suyu pretended to be relaxed. Then let's meet at 6 p.m., Left Bank Coffee on Songjiang Road. Okay. After Suyu replied, he was in a good mood. Boss, aren't you going to a business dinner tonight? And carefully reminded him. Cancel all my plans tonight. I have more important things to do. The corners of Suyu's mouth curled up slightly. And froze. He hadn't seen his boss smile so happily in a long time. Was this the rhythm of a relationship? After work, Chin Chu was going to pick up Huamin. It was snowing outside, and the weather was unbelievably cold. Huamin got into the passenger seat and gave Chin Chu a big hug. "Honey, where are we going to eat?" "You're not going to eat with him?" Chin Chu asked calmly. "Of course not, I think it'll take at most half an hour. After I finish what I want to say, I'll come out." "What do you want to eat?" Chin Chu looked at Huamin lovingly. "Emichim. I suddenly want to eat your black pepper beef pasta. I don't think those restaurants make it as authentic as yours." Huamin said coquettishly. "Okay, then we'll go home and make it ourselves." "Okay." Huamin smiled happily. It was rush hour, so traffic was inevitable. Every time they reached a traffic light, Huamin would turn on his clingy mode. She leaned her head on Chin Chu's shoulder and placed her right hand on the back of Chin Chu's right hand. She always felt that this kind of happiness came too quickly, and it was too unreal. It was like a dream. Huamin felt like she was a person with a very complicated fate. She couldn't believe that she had obtained happiness so easily. Therefore, the more uneasy she felt, the more afraid she was of losing him. Therefore, she clung to Chin Chu even more. "Honey, if you continue like this, I'm going to have a reaction." Seeing that Huamin's entire body was about to stick to Chin Chu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Chapter 1287. Huamin shyly straightened her back and stopped being a dogskin plaster. The two of them walked all the way to Left Bank Cafe. "Go ahead, I'll wait for you here." Huamin nodded. Then, she grabbed her purse, got out of the car, and walked straight into the cafe. Suyu's new car, a white Bugatti, was parked in front of the cafe. He came very early, even 20 minutes before the scheduled time. He cancelled everything just to meet up with Huamin. This was the first time in his life that Huamin took the initiative to ask her out. "You're early." Huamin smiled. "No, I just got here too." Suyu felt a little awkward. Then, he immediately called for the waiter. "Waiter, give her a hot cappuccino." "Thank you." Huamin sat across from Suyu and took off her white down jacket. Inside, there was only a simple white shirt with a stand-up collar, with a butterfly design on the collar. "So, did the sun rise from the west today?" Suyu looked at her and was in a good mood. "Huh?" Huamin froze. "You actually asked me out for coffee. Are you surprised?" "Yeah, I'm really surprised." Suyu looked down and slowly stirred the milk and sugar in her coffee. "Actually, I asked you out today because I have something to tell you." "I know, you wouldn't ask me out for nothing." Suyu looked up. He was already mentally prepared before he came. With Huamin's personality, it was impossible for her to ask him out for coffee just to catch up. Suyu's frankness made Huamin a little uncomfortable. "Tell me, what do you want to announce?" "Is it because you're pregnant?" Suyu asked calmly. He had imagined countless times how he would feel if he found out that Huamin was pregnant. Maybe he would be happy for her, or maybe he would be disappointed. However, he didn't think that he would say it out loud so casually. Ahem. Huamin coughed violently. Why was everyone focusing on whether she was pregnant or not? It was as if she really couldn't have children. "You misunderstood, it's not about that, it's about you." "About me?" Suyu looked at Huamin and raised his eyebrows slightly. "Yeah, about your company's talent show." Before Huamin could finish his sentence, Suyu's voice sounded. "Did my mother look for you?" "Yeah." Huamian wasn't good at lying, so she nodded casually. "Ignore her. She's old and is going through menopause." Suyu continued to drink his coffee. "I think she's doing this for your own good, so why don't you think about it?" Huamin. Suyu suddenly raised his head, looked into her eyes, and called out her full name. Huamin looked at him quietly. "You don't have to like me, but please don't tell me to like someone else. I don't like other people interfering with my life. I'm in charge of my own heart. Suyu was a little angry. Hwamin's motive was obvious as soon as she opened her mouth. His mother had asked her to persuade him. She wanted him to agree to that ridiculous audition. He wasn't the emperor of the harem, why would he choose a concubine? I'm not trying to interfere with your life, I just think it's better for you. After all, you can't be alone. No one said that you have to get married and have kids. Everyone has the right to choose how they live. Why should I be like everyone else? Suyu asked. Hwamin remained silent. The two of them didn't speak for a long time, and the atmosphere was a little awkward. Finally, Hwamin bit her lips and looked up at Suyu. Suyu, let me ask you, do you still keep your promise? Chapter 1288. What do you mean? Suyu was confused by her question. What do you mean by everything? Do you still keep your promises to me? Hwamian stared into his eyes and asked, word for word. Yes, as long as I've promised you, everything counts. Suyu was so sincere towards Hwamin that he would do anything for her. So, if I take this out, can you fulfill my wish? Can you fulfill my wish? Hwamian reached into her bag and took out the bullet shell that Suyu had given her on her birthday. Suyu's heart trembled when he saw the keepsake. So, what do you want? Are you trying to force me to compromise with you? Suyu smiled bitterly. I'm not forcing you to compromise, I just want you to live a happier life. Haha, you're not me, how do you know that I'll be happy if you just randomly arrange a woman for me? Do you think that humans are like animals, that they just need to mate when they're in heat? Humans are high-level animals because they have their own independent thoughts and personalities. So what if I like you? What's wrong with that? You don't have to like me, but do you think it's fun to force me to do something like this? Suyu was truly angry this time. Hwamin knew that she had gone overboard, but she felt that if Suyu could live a better life in the future, it would all be worth it. So, she gritted her teeth and placed the bullet shell on the table. On my birthday, you said that you would fulfill one of my wishes. So. Suyu had a bad feeling about this. He felt like Hwamin's wish was a trap for him. As expected, he heard Hwamin say, word for word, so, my wish is for you to cooperate with the activity that Auntie Sue has prepared for you. Suyu sighed softly, then, he raised his head and looked out of the window, his expression incomparably gloomy. You can take the bullet shell back. Suyu pushed the bullet shell towards Hwamin. What? Are you going to break your promise? Hwamin was slightly startled. In her eyes, Suyu shouldn't be a man who didn't keep his word. Then, she heard Suyu say, take back the bullets. I didn't give you this for you to squander like this. I'll agree to what you've told me. You don't have to force me with a token. Actually, as long as you say it's what you want, I'll do it. It doesn't matter, it really doesn't matter. Suyu, Hwamin didn't even finish his sentence. Suyu got up and left. Hwamian couldn't finish her sentence and felt awkward. Suddenly, when Suyu walked past Hwamin, he stopped and leaned over to look at Hwamin. Then, he said, word for word, Hwamin, don't do to others what you don't want others to do to you. After saying this, Suyu got up and left. He turned his head without saying anything. Suyu didn't expect to end this meeting so quickly. When he walked to the door, he reached for his wallet and left 1,000 yuan bill at the cashier. Bill for table 6, keep the change. Actually, the last sentence that Suyu said before he left was a huge blow to Hwamin. She was deeply touched. Yeah, Suyu was right. Don't do to others what you don't want others to do to you. If she couldn't accept it herself, why would she try so hard to persuade others? Hwamin felt like she was being too selfish. she was in a hurry to find a girlfriend for Suyu because she wanted Suyu to forget about her. Then, she wouldn't feel guilty about her relationship with Chin-Chu anymore. In the end, she was thinking too much about herself and ignored Suyu's feelings. When Huamin walked out, she looked a little dazed. When she got into the car, Chin-Chu immediately noticed that something was wrong. "Honey, what's wrong? Why do you look so listless?" Chapter 1289. "It's nothing, we just didn't have a good conversation." Chin-Chu was so angry that he laughed. He reached out his hand and pinched her face lovingly. "It's good that you didn't have a good conversation. If you two had a good conversation, would I still be sitting here quietly? I would have torn down that cafe a long time ago." Huamin smiled through her tears. She looked down and sent a text to Lady Su. "Auntie Su, I've already told him." "Okay, thank you, child," Lady Su replied immediately. Huamin took a deep breath, then put her arm around Chin-Chu's shoulder and smiled. "Let's go home for dinner, honey." "Okay." Then, Chin-Chu and Huamin returned to South Hill Manor. As soon as the two entered the house, the butler, Uncle Lee, walked over. "Sir, madam, what would you like for dinner?" "I'll get someone to prepare it right away." "It's okay, I'll do it. You guys should go and rest." Then, Chin-Chu changed his clothes, rolled up his sleeves, and walked into the kitchen with the ingredients. Huamin took a shower and sat on the sofa in the living room, looking at some hospital information. Not long after, Chin-Chu finished preparing the pasta. He even made a vegetable and fruit salad for Huamin. Huamin's bad mood was instantly swept away. The two of them sat facing each other. "Sir, here's the wine you wanted." Uncle Lee handed over a bottle of red wine. This was flown back from France. "It's made from the latest grapes. Although it's not that old, it tastes good. Try it." As Chin-Chu spoke, he poured half a glass for Huamin. Huamin nodded slightly. Then, she lowered her head and took a bite of the pasta. Suddenly, her heart was filled with happiness. Looking at the man sitting across from her, she felt like she was back in her youth. "Honey, thank you for being in my life." Huamin was extremely emotional. She raised her glass to Chin-Chu. The corners of Chin-Chu's mouth raised slightly as he responded with a smile. Uncle Lee looked at the two children lovingly and then left quietly. Both of them were very busy. It had been a long time since they could relax and enjoy a proper dinner. "What a waste of our two-person world." On the other side, Suyu returned to the villa at night and began to pack up without saying a word. "Son, what happened?" "Move away," Suyu replied faintly. "Why did you move out?" Lady Su was used to going home to eat and sleep. She panicked when she saw that Suyu was about to move out. "It's nothing. It's just that the renovation of my villa has been completed. The formaldehyde removal work has also been completed. I've decided to move there. I still prefer to live alone." With that said, Suyu simply put some of his personal belongings into the suitcase, then carried it and walked down. "Ah. Why didn't you inform me in advance? Why did you leave just like that?" Lady Su was a bit reluctant to leave. Suyu stopped in his tracks and turned to look at his mother. "Mom, why didn't you tell me in advance that you were going to choose a girlfriend for me? National auditions. You should have just announced it to the world. I was doing it for your own good. I don't need you to do it for my own good. I can listen to you on everything else, but when it comes to marriage, I want to make my own decisions. I don't want to find a woman I don't like, marry her, and be with her for the rest of my life. Oh right, and don't go looking for Huamin anymore. It's my own business that I like her, don't drag her into it." Are you blaming me?" Lady Su's heart ached. "No, I'm just giving you a piece of advice. I hope this is the first and last time. Also, you can continue with the event. Just let me know when you're done. I promised Hwamin that I'll cooperate with you, but only this time. With that, Siu carried his suitcase downstairs. Then, he threw it into the trunk of his sports car and left in a hurry. Lady Su felt a bit sad. Her son seemed to be really angry this time. She didn't think that Hwamin would affect her son to this extent. It was another weekend. In the morning, Chin Chu went to GK to work overtime, and Hwamin woke up naturally. When she got up, she realized what time it was. She had just put on her clothes when she saw Lady Chin come upstairs. Mian, hurry up and get ready, I'm taking you somewhere today. Chin Chu's mother seemed to be very nice to Hwamin lately, and her attitude towards her was a lot friendlier. Chapter 1290. Mom, where are you taking me? Hwamin froze. You'll know when we get there. Hurry up and get ready. Lady Chin urged her mysteriously. Hwamin could only listen to her mother-in-law. She immediately washed her face, brushed her teeth, and changed her clothes. She looked at the weather forecast. It wasn't particularly cold today, so she didn't wear a down jacket. Instead, she chose a light blue cashmere coat. Inside, she chose a white knitted sweater. This combination made one's eyes light up. After Hwamin changed, she didn't even have time to eat breakfast. Instead, she directly followed Lady Chin to the black Bentley. Lady Chin didn't know how to drive. Whenever she went out, the family chauffeur would pick her up. After Hwamin got into the car, Lady Chin handed her a bag of soy milk and youtiao. Eat it while it's hot. It's not good for your stomach if you don't eat in the morning. Thanks, Mom. Hwamin slowly took the breakfast. To be honest, she never imagined that a day like this would come. Not only did Chin Chu's mother accept her, but she also packed breakfast for her. What a surprise. Hwamin quietly finished her breakfast. Then, she didn't say much on the way home. She simply looked out the window at the scenery. Just then, she received a WeChat message. Honey, are you up? Emicham, come to the office for lunch in a bit, Chin Chu said domineeringly. I'm afraid I can't. Mom's here. Which mom? Chin Chu was a little confused. Your mom. Hwamin didn't dare to send a voice message. She could only type carefully. What's my mom doing? I don't know. She said she's taking me somewhere. Take it. Mom's pretty generous. If you go shopping, you can scam her a little more. Pfft, are you really her biological child? Hwamin snickered. Chin Chu didn't reply. The car drove for about an hour. They were already very far out of the city. Finally, they got off the highway and entered a small village. Mom, where are we going? Hwamin couldn't help but ask out of curiosity. Lady Chin took her hand and said mysteriously, there's a master fortune teller here. He's blind. It said that he's very accurate. Many provincial leaders come here, but he doesn't show his fortune after noon, so we have to come in the morning. Fortune telling. Hwamin was a little embarrassed. To be honest, she didn't really believe in these things. She had always thought that it was superstition, something that only the older generation believed in. However, her mother-in-law was also kind, so she couldn't refuse directly. Therefore, he braced himself and followed her into a farmyard. He wouldn't know if he didn't go in, but once he did, he was shocked. The courtyard was filled with people. It seemed like there was a party going on. Lady Chin stepped forward and said to a middle-aged woman at the door, we made an appointment with Master Zhao yesterday. All right, you guys wait for a moment. When the people inside come out, you guys can go in. Lady Chin nodded in satisfaction, then, she pulled Hwamin and said, don't think too much, kid. I'm not trying to tell you and choose marriage. After all, you guys are already married. I just want to see when you guys can have a child. This master is very accurate, let's hear what he has to say. Huamin nodded. When you go in, don't be afraid if the master asks you anything. Just tell him the truth, Lady Qin instructed. Huamin nodded again. After about 10 minutes, the middle-aged woman walked out. You guys can go in now. Okay. Lady Qin led Huamin inside, however, the middle-aged woman stopped them. Only the person who asked the question can go in. Okay then, I'll wait outside. Lady Qin anxiously waited outside the door with her designer bag. To be honest, Huamin had never had her fortune told since she was young. She always thought that these things were lies. So, it was quite awkward. She entered the innermost room and saw an old man sitting on the sofa. He looked to be in his 60s. His hair was white, and his eyes were closed. According to her mother-in-law, he was blind. Hello master, I'm here to have my fortune told. Huamin politely bowed to the old man. Chapter 1291. Have a seat. The old man waved his hand, gesturing for Huamin to sit down. What do you want to read? I want to have a child. Huamin was actually quite embarrassed to say it out loud. After all, it was such a private matter. Give me your birthday, I'll take a look first. Huamin then told the old man the year, month, and time of her birth. Then, she saw the old man close his eyes and pinch his fingers together. At that time, she thought this was too typical. It was no different from those fortune tellers who set up stalls outside. They would just say that you had some kind of calamity and ask you to spend money to solve it. However, Huamin never would have thought that. The old man's first sentence was a sigh. Master, what's wrong? This life of yours. At this point, the old man hesitated. Upon hearing this, Huamin also became nervous. Master, if you have something to say, just say it. I'm fine. Child, it's been hard on you all these years. The old man closed his eyes. Although he couldn't see Huamin's face, it was as if he knew what she looked like. His words warmed Huamin's heart. She was surprised. I've been a fortune teller for more than 30 years, but I've never seen a fate like yours. Then, is it good or bad? Huamin continued to ask. How should I put it? It's not good, but it's not bad either. It has its pros and cons. Let's talk about it first. Okay. For the first time, Huamin was interested in something as vivid as fortune-telling. Your fate is quite exaggerated. Originally, you didn't have such a fate. But when you were born, something happened and it changed your fate. But it's good, it's destined that you won't have to wander around for many years. Master, I don't understand. Huamin was even more annoyed by her master's ambiguous words. Not many people knew about her past, except for her, Qin Chu, and Huasiqian. It was impossible for outsiders to know, but this old man seemed to know. Did he mean that he had been swapped in the hospital back then by a freak combination of factors? Child, there are some things that I can't say too directly. As the saying goes, the secrets of heaven cannot be revealed. You can figure it out yourself. However, I can tell you that although your life has been torturous and difficult, it's still considered peaceful. If it weren't for this calamity, if you had your original fate, you might have been living a life of escape. Will I be able to see my family again in the future? Huamin asked anxiously. Yes, but now is not the right time. They will come looking for you. Upon hearing this, Huamin was ecstatic. At that moment, the elder spread out his hands and said to Huamin, let me tell you about your current life providence first. All right. Huamin nodded. He was already in awe of the old man. If you have been through hardships in the beginning, you will definitely enjoy good health in the future. Huamin roughly understood the meaning of these 4 sentences. It seemed to be saying that if you have been through hardships in the beginning, you will be fine in the future. Then, the old man slowly explained, you are handsome and have an extraordinary temperament. You are talented. You don't take advantage of good people, and you are not afraid of evil. You are bold and careful, and you have a strong aura. You don't come from a good family, but you have always been the backbone of your family. However, you rarely meet people who can help you, so every time something happens, you will be able to turn misfortune into fortune. Don't worry. That sounds good. Am I starting to get lucky? Huamin smiled, thinking that the person the old man was talking about must be Qin Chu. To his surprise, the old man shook his head, not yet. You will face another calamity within a year. Upon hearing this, Huamin's expression changed slightly. Then, can it be overcome? Huamin asked tentatively. He wanted to see if the old man was just saying this to make money. The old man shook his head. It can't be overcome. It is fated. Most people who say that they can help people overcome calamities are lying. A person's fate is fated, and no one can change it. Otherwise, you will become the enemy of the heavens. However, you don't have to worry too much about this calamity. According to your fate, you will overcome it. Anyway, remember, no matter what happens, stay strong. Only by staying alive will there be hope. Huamin felt that his master's words made sense, so he nodded. Then, Master, will I be able to have a baby in this lifetime? Huamin held his stomach sadly. He suddenly lost confidence in himself. His master was actually quite accurate. He was not one of those liars who came up with nonsense. Chapter 1292. The old man calculated with his fingers, then slowly said, Don't worry, not only are you destined to have children, but you'll have more than one. More than one. Huamin understood it as twins, triplets, or even multiple births. No way, either none of them came, or a few of them came. Did it have to be so weird? You're a man with many children, so you won't be childless. Don't worry, wait patiently, and it won't take too long. The old man said a lot to Huamin. Normally, he wouldn't have said so much. Thank you, Master. Huamin nodded in gratitude. No need, do you have anything else to ask? No. Huamin felt that he shouldn't be too greedy. Even if the master was accurate, he didn't want her to continue. Let me ask you, if your life and what will happen in the next few decades can be calculated by someone else. How boring would that be? There was no surprise to speak of. The reason why life was so interesting was that you never knew what would happen tomorrow. Therefore, Huamin decided that he only needed to know what he wanted the most, and there was no need to ask about anything else. Okay, then help me call the next one. Master, how much is it? Huamin took out his wallet from his bag and prepared to pay the master. 1 yuan. 1 yuan. Huamin was extremely surprised. This old man does fortune-telling for others to accumulate virtue and do good deeds, not to become rich. So, you don't have to be surprised. Just give me $1. If I read it for free, then I'll be punished by the heavens. That won't do, 1 yuan is too little, it's too insulting. Huamin felt embarrassed. He took out 100 yuan bills from his bag and handed them over. However, the master insisted on shaking his head. I said I don't want it, just give me 1 yuan. Seeing that the master's attitude wasn't very friendly, Huamin knew that he was really angry. He didn't dare to insist, so he took out some change from his bag, took out 1 yuan, and placed it on the table. The old man picked it up and touched it. After confirming that it was indeed 1 yuan, he nodded in satisfaction. Huamin put his palms together and bowed deeply towards the old man in a very sincere manner. Thank you, Master. She had never had her fortune told before, and this was her first time doing so. She had really met an expert. No need. Let's go. The old man waved his hand and dismissed Huamin. Hearing Huamin's footsteps leaving, the old man sighed slightly again. It's really hard on this child. His fate is too complicated. When they walked out, Lady Qin immediately walked up and held Huamin's hand. How is it? Mian, what did the master say? Master said, there will be children and, more than one. Huamin was a little shy. Ah. Are they twins? Or are they multiple births? Oh my God, that's great. Lady Qin was overjoyed. Lady Qin didn't doubt the master's words at all, because her friends had told her before. Therefore, she was very sure that the master's words were very accurate. Now that he said that Huamin was destined to have many children, it meant that the Qin family had a successor. Let's go, Mom will treat you to a big meal. Mom, there's no need. You've been busy with me all morning. Huamin was a little embarrassed to let his mother-in-law make the arrangements. After all, she was an old woman. What's there to be busy about? We're family, don't be silly. Let's go. Lady Qin held Huamin's hand and got into the Bentley. Then, they drove to the top-floor restaurant of a 5-star hotel in the city. Lady Qin ordered an Australian lobster, some bird's nest, sea cucumber, and abalone rice for Huamin. The meal cost more than 20,000 yuan. Huamin's heart ached, but his mother-in-law was generous. This time, she came back with such good news. Whether it was for Huamin or Lady Qin, it was great news. During the meal, she took the initiative to ask Huamin, "Child, did you tell Chu about this?" Chapter 1293. Not yet. I'm afraid that it won't be good if it isn't. Huamin wasn't sure. If the master's divination was wrong, it would be a slap in the face. Therefore, he didn't tell Qin Chu. However, Lady Qin couldn't wait. Oh, that won't happen. This master is very good. If he says it's true, then it's true. Then, before Huamin could say anything, Lady Qin took the initiative to call her son. Chu, let me tell you a piece of good news. Today, I took Mian to a very accurate fortune-teller. Guess what he said? Haha, the master said that she's destined to have many children. Our Qin family is going to be very lively in the future. Lady Qin couldn't hide the joy in her eyes as she reported to Qin Chu. Huamin lowered his head. She was too embarrassed to tell everyone. After all, she wasn't pregnant yet. Qin Chu smiled on the other end. This is good news. You have to comfort your daughter-in-law. Of course, I'm taking her to eat a big meal right now. Australian lobster, do you want to come? Lady Qin said proudly. I'm not going. I still have work to do at the company. You guys enjoy your meal. After hanging up, Lady Qin smiled at Huamin. Chu sounds very happy too. Hey, Mian, do you think these babies will be boys or girls? Are they twin girls? Or boys? Or both men and women? Mom, it's not the responsibility of either party to give birth to a boy or a girl. In medicine, it's a matter of chromosomes. It's a matter of X and Y, Huamin explained with a smile. I don't know about XY, but I think it'd be best if it's a boy and a girl. But it'd be good if it's 2 girls and a boy. Oh, everything's good. Even if it's a girl, I'd be happy. Huamin was very happy about Lady Qin's attitude. She wasn't like those rich mothers-in-law who wanted to give birth to a boy. For the current Lady Qin, as long as Huamin gave birth, it didn't matter if it was a boy or a girl. Therefore, Huamin really didn't have any burdens. after eating with his mother-in-law, Huamin wanted to go to Sky Blessing Court to see his mother. Lady Qin happily asked the driver to send Huamin to Sky Blessing Court. However, Lady Qin didn't go in. After all, so many unpleasant things had happened before, so she couldn't face it so calmly. Before Lady Qin left, she reminded Huamin to eat and sleep well and prepare for pregnancy. Huamin smiled and nodded before entering his home in Sky Blessing Court. When she went in, she found her mother eating alone. She was very happy to see Huamin. "Mian, you came just in time. I made corn noodles." "Mom, I've already eaten." "Hurry up and eat. I just came to see you." Huamin sat down on the sofa with a smile on her face. She turned on the TV and watched in boredom. Suddenly, a note on the coffee table caught her attention. It was a money transfer receipt. On it was clearly written, "Sender, Yang Meirong. Recipient, Yang Xiuping." The date of the transfer was today, and the amount was 10,000 yuan. "Mom, you went out today?" Huamin suddenly asked. Yang Meirong was eating in the dining room, so she didn't see her daughter find the receipt. Therefore, she replied, "Yeah, I just went out to buy some groceries. There's nothing left to eat at home." "Mom, why did you transfer 10,000 yuan to Xiuping? Why did she need so much money all of a sudden?" Huamin asked with a complicated expression. Upon hearing her daughter's question, Yang Meirong's expression changed. "How did you know?" Chapter 1294. Huamin held up the slip of paper helplessly. "Look, isn't it written here?" Yang Meirong immediately felt awkward. She was a bit hungry when she transferred the money, so she wanted to cook and then put the slip of paper on the coffee table. She thought she'd throw it away later, but she didn't expect Huamin to come at this time. So, she ignored it. Huamin knew that at his mother's age, she didn't know how to use mobile banking or transfer money online. The only way was to go to the bank and transfer money. The truth was, Huamin wouldn't ask about giving money to Yang Meirong. After all, no matter how bad she was still his mother's niece. He remembered his mother saying that when Yang Xiuping left, it was only right to give her some pocket money. After Yang Xiuping left, his mother gave her an extra 5,000 yuan for living expenses. She was worried that Yang Xiuping wouldn't have enough money to eat or sleep. Generally speaking, if a girl had 7,000 to 8,000 yuan on her, her food and accommodation should not be too bad. Even if her workplace didn't provide food and accommodation, she shouldn't have spent all her money in just a few days, right? Yang Meirong was embarrassed by Huamin's question. She had no choice but to tell him the truth. "Mian, don't be mad. Xiuping called me this morning and said that her new job doesn't provide food and accommodation, and they even deduct her deposit. She spent most of her money and ate something bad last night, so she went to the hospital. She asked me to lend her money and said that she'll pay me back when she earns more money." Huamin was a bit helpless. "Mom, it's not that I don't want you to lend Xiuping money, but I have a feeling that she might not be telling the truth. You shouldn't trust her so much. If she really was hospitalized and treated, we'd give her any amount of money. You don't have to lend her money, but is she really sick? Is she just using you as an excuse to ask for money? I don't think she's lying to me, right?" The truth was, Yang Meirong wasn't sure either. When her niece lived here, she was a bit lazy and didn't do much. Yang Meirong even gave her 3,000 yuan a month, but because she was her niece, Yang Meirong didn't mind. Now that her niece had asked for 10,000 yuan, she didn't even have any qualms. Thinking about it, she was too muddle-headed and didn't ask clearly. "Okay. Let's leave it at that. If she asks for money again in the future, just say that you don't have it and ask her to transfer it to me. If she really needs money, I'll give it to her. But if she lies, I won't get a single cent. Huamin tried to persuade his mother. Yang Meirong felt that her daughter had a point, so she nodded. Has Xixin called you recently? Yang Meirong was a little disappointed. I did, but he seems to be very busy. He said that he won't be coming back for the spring festival and will continue his studies there. That's good too. It's rare for him to be so motivated. Boys should work harder and fight harder. Although Huamin missed Xixin very much, he didn't think it was wrong for Xixin not to come back. Instead, he was quite supportive of him. She stayed at her mother's house for a while and slept. That night, her mother made dumplings with celery and pork stuffing. Qin Chu happened to get off work and had dinner there as well. At 7:30 p.m., the two of them left Sky Blessing Court together. On the way, Qin Chu turned his head to look at Huamin and asked, "What did the master say today? Didn't Mom tell you? I want to hear it from you." Qin Chu's tone was infinitely gentle. Huamin looked out the window shyly. He said that we might have many children. How many is many? A football team. Do you think I'm a pig? How could I have a football team? Huamin laughed and punched Qin Chu's shoulder. Then, Mr. Qin asked in all seriousness, "Did the master say how many times a night is best for us?" Chapter 1295. Huamin chuckled and replied fiercely, 18 times. 18 times is too much. But 8 times, I can still handle it, aren't you afraid of? Huamin looked at Qin Chu, amused. What's wrong with for my wife? Huamin immediately nudged Qin Chu. Mr. Qin was being dirty again. The two of them went back to South Hill Manor, showered early, and went to bed. The next morning, Huamin went to work as usual. When Zhu Lingling won the lottery, she started a conversation in the group chat. Zhu Lingling, girls, are you free tonight? I'll treat you guys to dinner. Jiang Xiaowei, did you hit the jackpot? Huamin, did you win the lottery? Jiang Xiaowei, did you find yourself a sugar daddy? Huamin, did your Captain Gao quit his job? Zhu Lingling, I'm just treating you guys to dinner. Do you have to be like this? Although I am different from you guys, I'm not some rich lady, but I'm not someone who can't afford to treat you guys to a meal. At most, we'll just pick a small place, hee. Jiang Xiaowei, okay. I'm bored to death at home. I want to go out. Anything is fine. Huamin, I'm not picky. You pick a place. Zhu Lingling, let me make it clear, I'm not bringing my family today. Every time I bring those guys, we can't have a private conversation. Jiang Xiaowei, I agree. It's better if we don't bring them. It's quiet. You don't have to squeak in my ear. Huamin, then I'll take a cab and leave Mr. Qin at home. Zhu Lingling, okay, I'll make a reservation. Send me the address when I'm done. Just come on time. In the afternoon, Huamin was busy with meetings and taking notes. At the end of the year, the hospital was also busy. There were a lot of patients every day. If the neurology department did not have a lot of patients, Huamin would go to other departments that he was familiar with. They were also quite desperate. Her mother-in-law kept telling her not to tire herself out and not to work too hard, but how could she be so free? When it was finally time to get off work, Huamin sent a WeChat message to Qin Chu, telling her that he was going out for dinner. Qin Chu only replied with one word, then continued to work overtime. Huamin took a taxi to the restaurant booked by Zhu Lingling. It was a famous kitchen fish restaurant in the city center. All of them liked to eat fish, so they had the same idea. When Huamin arrived, Jiang Xiaowei and Zhu Lingling had already arrived. The three of them were in a small private room on the second floor. The environment was very elegant. In the middle of the room, a large iron pot was simmering a large fish and various vegetables. The smell of it was very appetizing. Ha! My Mian gained weight. You have some meat on your face. Jiang Shaowei smiled. Really, now that you mention it, I feel it too. What's going on? Did you gain weight? Zhu Lingling laughed. Huamin subconsciously pinched her own face. I'm preparing for pregnancy, so I eat a lot. Everything I eat is delicious. Aren't you afraid that you'll turn into a pig? What if Mr. Qin abandons you? Zhu Lingling joked. I'm not afraid. If worse comes to worst, I'll turn him into a pig and keep him company. Hey, you're so jealous. Mr. Qin isn't here, and you're still showing off your love to us, as if no one else is here, Zhu Lingling said proudly. Jiang Shaowei laughed. When the three of them were together, the atmosphere was always lively. Hey, silly Ling, when are you getting married? You can't live together forever without getting married. Jiang Shaowei suddenly thought of this question. Actually, after our last get-together. Gao Ran proposed to me that day. Jiang Shaowei, wow. Why didn't you tell him? Huamin, you're hiding information from me, so I'll drag you out and beat you 30 times. Zhu Lingling, I already rejected him, why would I tell you guys? You rejected him. Are you crazy? Jiang Shaowei was shocked. You're joking, why did you reject the proposal? Huamin was also surprised. Chapter 1296. Then, Zhu Lingling stopped smiling and looked at Huamin seriously. I told him that we shouldn't get married yet. It's not the right time yet. We'll get married when Mian is pregnant. Wouldn't that be a double blessing? After Zhu Lingling finished speaking, she immediately fell silent. Jiang Shaowei also stopped smiling and looked at Huamin. She didn't say anything. After hesitating for a long time, she said to Zhu Lingling, Are you stupid? Why would you wait until I'm pregnant before you get married? If I don't get pregnant, you won't get married. Pfft. I won't. I think I'll wait another year at most. Within a year, you'll definitely have a baby, and I'll get married for sure. Zhu Lingling was full of confidence. Did Gao Ran agree? Jiang Shaowei asked tentatively. Yeah. What a good man. Jiang Shaowei exclaimed. Huamin tapped Zhu Lingling's head with his finger. No one is stupider than you. But that's good too. Fortune favors fools. You'll definitely be very lucky, of course. I'm the fattest out of the three of us, but the fortune teller said that fat people are blessed, so I won't be worse than you guys, ha. Zhu Lingling laughed happily. Huamin was very touched. She didn't think that the fact that she didn't have a baby would affect her friends. Even Zhu Lingling was still waiting to see if she was pregnant with his proposal. It was really too touching. Sometimes, friendship was serious. When it was serious, it didn't lose out to love. Although love lasted for a lifetime, friendship lasted for a lifetime as well. A best friend may grow from a young age to a white-haired one. Huamin felt emotional and posted on his WeChat moments. Whether it's friendship or love, the most beautiful state is from spring and autumn to winter and summer, from young to old. At the same time, Huamin also updated his WeChat moments on Weibo. When Suyu refreshed his Weibo, he immediately saw Huamin's update. After a while, he slowly muttered to himself, I didn't get to participate in your youth, but I'm willing to accompany you to the end in your future. What do you mean, young Master Su? Are you trying to pester me? Tang Chuan asked after hearing Suyu's words. No one will think you're mute if you don't speak. Ha ha ha. I've exposed your thoughts. You've lost face, haven't you? Suyu didn't even respond to him. Instead, he came to Huamian's office. Early in the morning, he was lying on Suyu's office's sofa and played mobile games on his phone. He was speechless. Most importantly, Su even have lunches at him. Not only that, but this guy didn't know his place and often attacked Suyu. Sigh, to be honest, Lord Su, you should give up. Even I feel bad for your feelings for Huamin. I feel sorry for you, really, Tang Chuan said as he played his mobile game. I know what I'm doing. What do you have to know? You've been down south with me for more than 20 days, and you're still the same. You haven't changed at all. You're happy for half a day when someone posts on Weibo, okay? Why do you have to do this? You can have any woman you want in your position. Why do you have to fight with Huamin to the end? Aren't you tired? Suyu opened his laptop and looked at the data as he slowly replied, if you fall in love with someone and realize that person doesn't like you back, then you don't like them anymore and like someone else. Is that true love? How old are you? This isn't a kindergarten kid playing house. Do you think it's that simple? The most difficult thing in life is love. So many heroes have been wasted on beautiful women. I like Huamin, who did I offend? I didn't break up her marriage, am I as evil as you say? I don't understand, why do you keep telling me to give up? Chapter 1297. You're wrong. You're not evil. You're just pitiful that you can't get a response from her, Tang Chuan defended himself. Suyu raised his eyebrows and said, pitiful. How come I don't think so? If Huamin immediately dumped Qin Chu and ran into my arms, that would be pitiful. If she betrayed Qin Chu for me, then she'll betray me for another man one day. If she was such a frivolous woman, then I wouldn't have fallen for her. The reason why I'm falling deeper and deeper is because I know her better. I know that because of the promise she made when she was young, she never left Qin Chu. She's even willing to live and die with him. Huamin is a great woman. A woman like her is worthy of me doing anything for her. Tang Chuan was speechless. Okay, you win. Lord Su. You're always right. In the end, Tang Chuan stopped arguing with Su Yu. When it came to Huamin, not only Tang Chuan and Wei Liao, but even Lord Su and Mrs. Su couldn't say anything. Su Yu was already on the path of unrequited love. There was no turning back. Huamin's smile was a gift even to her. President Su, the auditions are over. Mrs. Su is hosting a dinner party for the winner, runner-up, and runner-up. It's at White Jade Restaurant, 8 p.m. Remember to be there on time. His assistant, An, carefully explained, I got it. Suyu nodded and went back to work. Tang Chuan's interest was immediately piqued. He stood up and put away his phone. Then, he walked up to Suyu and gossiped, huh? Auntie Su, you're really something. Although the harem selection wasn't held on a large scale, it was still held from 20,000 people. I've long heard that the top 3 are all beauties who can cause the fall of a city. How about? Before he could finish, Suyu understood what he was thinking and raised his head to look at him. You can come with us tonight. Really? Really? Then, will Auntie kill me? Tang Chuan was a little hesitant. Even if I die under a peony, I'll still be a romantic ghost. Haha, you're right. Then I'll wait until tonight to be with you. Haha, you pick first, and the rest are mine. Tang Chuan was very proud. Are you still taking Chinese medicine recently? Suyu suddenly asked. Yes, why? Tang Chuan was a little confused. Well, let's nourish your kidneys first. Tang Chuan, who said that Suyu wasn't two-faced. When his mouth was poisonous, it would infuriate people to death. Suyu was very conflicted about his mother's concubine selection. He always felt that it was very childish. He originally wanted to stop it, but his mother found Hwamin at the last minute as reinforcements, so he couldn't do anything. He also promised Hwamin that he would fully cooperate with this matter, so he definitely had to attend tonight's banquet. 8 p.m. Suyu brought Tang Chuan to the banquet on time. In a private room on the top floor of White Jade Restaurant. There were bodyguards guarding the door. Lady Su also did a very good job of keeping it a secret, afraid that the media would report it. When Suyu entered, he saw 3 girls sitting next to his mother. You're here. Lady Su was very happy to see her son. The 3 women all looked over at the same time. After seeing the girls' faces, Tang Chuan was a little surprised. The 3 chosen out of 20,000 people weren't devastatingly beautiful. In fact, they couldn't even be described as beauties. Young Master Su. The 3 girls greeted in unison. Suyu nodded and walked over. Chuan, you're here too. Mrs. Su smiled. Hello, Auntie. I was out with him on some business and didn't eat, so I came over. It's fine, it's fine. Sit down. Lady Su was extremely generous. After Suyu and Tang Chuan sat down, Lady Su immediately introduced them enthusiastically. This is 3rd place, Yao-Ting-Ting, this is 2nd place, Zhang Junya, and this is our champion this time, Bai Jingjing. Bai Jingjing. Pfft. Isn't that the name of the white bone spirit in Journey to the West? Tang Chuan didn't think too much about it. This caused the girl to look very awkward as well. What do you think? Lady Su's words were also very straightforward. She wanted her son to pick a good one out of the 3. Chapter 1298. Pretty good, they're all pretty good, Suyu said, which was rare for him. Tang Chuan, Mrs. Su, then, which one is the best? Mrs. Su continued to ask straightforwardly. All 3 are good, why don't you keep them all? They're all really good. Suyu looked down, took out his phone, and said casually as he scrolled through his WeChat moments. Mrs. Su, Tang Chuan, ahem. Lord Su, although your dreams are great, reality is harsh. It's good to have ideas and daring, but our China's constitution currently doesn't allow polygamy, Tang Chuan explained. These words were exactly what Lady Su wanted to say, although it was a good thing that her son was interested in them. However, he couldn't ask for all 3 at once. Polygamy. You guys are thinking too much. I mean, all 3 of them can sign under Imperial Star. It just so happens that our company is filming a harem drama and needs a lot of women. I think the 3 of them are very suitable. Lady Su, Tang Chuan, the 3 beauties also had awkward expressions on their faces. Didn't they say that they were going to pick a wife for Lord Su? Why did they end up talking about signing with Imperial Star? Looking at the 3 beauties' confused faces, Suyu took out the contracts that he always carried with him from his bag. This is the rookie contract, take a look. If you like it, want to enter the entertainment industry, or are interested in acting, you can sign it. If you don't want to act, you don't have to sign it. I'll compensate you with another sum of money. I won't let you participate for nothing. Young Master Su, you misunderstood. We didn't participate for the money, the champion, Bai Jingjing, explained gently. The other 2 beauties also agreed in unison, yeah, we don't want money, you don't have to give us money. Then do you want to act? Not really, we didn't go to acting school, and we don't want to enter the entertainment industry. We only participated because... Bai Jingjing swallowed the words that were about to come out of her mouth. But what? Suyu looked up and glanced at the woman. You just thought that Lady Su would choose a girlfriend for you, so... I, Suyu, am never short of girlfriends. There are more than 300 actresses under Imperial Star, and I don't think they're bad. If I wanted to pick, I would have done it a long time ago. I can produce 3 actresses like Jian Tong in a year. As for you guys, I've given you the contract. Again, if you don't want to sign the contract, you can ask for other compensation. This is my assistant's contact number, you can tell him. After speaking, Suyu got up and left. Lady Su was a bit angry. She chased after him and shouted in the hallway, Suyu, stop right there. Lady Su loved her son very much, so she rarely called him by his full name. It was obvious how angry she was right now. When Suyu heard his mother's voice, he stopped in his tracks. Tang Chuan had been following Suyu closely. When he saw how angry his mother was, he also moved to the side and didn't dare to say anything. What do you mean by this? Explain to me, we were clearly choosing a girlfriend for you. You agreed to cooperate, how did you become a rookie? Lady Su suppressed her anger and questioned Suyu. Chapter 1299. I didn't want to find a girlfriend to begin with. This is your idea, not mine. It's already good enough that I'm willing to cooperate. Suyu didn't think much of it, so I'm playing with those girls. Lady Su was furious. No, not only did you play with them, but you also played with me. Suyu looked at his mother and enunciated each word clearly. Lady Su's face gradually darkened upon hearing this. Suyu continued, I originally thought that you might choose someone with good looks for me, but I underestimated your ability. Look at those 3. They all look like Huamin. You really put in a lot of effort to find a few out of 20,000 people. But is there any point in doing this? Am I, Suyu, reduced to this? I can't get the original, so I have to find a substitute. Don't you think that's sad? Mom. I'm doing this for your own good. Lady Su didn't expect to make Suyu unhappy. She originally thought that Suyu would be happy to see a woman who looked like Huamin and would fall in love with her. She didn't expect him to fly into a rage. No, you're not doing this for my own good. This is an insult to me. Mom. You're old, don't worry about me. You should worry about your own life in your later years. I'm a disappointment. I've disappointed you. After speaking, Suyu turned around and left. You. Lady Su called out with tears in her eyes. However, Suyu still didn't look back. Everyone had different personalities. Hua Xiqian would be infatuated with a woman who looked like Huamin and couldn't help himself. However, Suyu knew very well that there was only one Huamin in this world. He was unique and irreplaceable. If he couldn't get what he wanted, he would find an imposter to replace it. That would be the most ridiculous and stupid thing to do. That night, Suyu didn't go home, nor did he go to the nightclub, nor did he go back to the company. He returned to his private villa. Tang Chuan was afraid that he would be in a bad mood, so he followed him. Suyu was a nostalgic person. After selling the old villa, he renovated it. It was exactly the same as that one, and the decoration was in the style of an aquarium. The moment he entered, he felt as if he had entered an underwater world. All kinds of tropical fish swam overhead and around every day. There were even many details here that were exactly the same as that villa. Tang Chuan was really shocked. Suyu had only moved into this new villa less than a week ago. It was also his first time here. I thought I walked into your previous home, Tang Chuan muttered to himself. Do you drink? So what if I don't drink? Get lost if you don't want to drink. I'll drink it then. Thus, Tang Chuan and Suyu carried out 2 cartons of beer. Taking out some snacks from the fridge, the 2 of them drank until dawn. Suyu's mood was unprecedentedly bad. It was really bad. The girl he liked told him to find a girlfriend. His mother told him to pick one. Was he, Suyu, such a loser? Tang Chuan. Tell me. Do I have any hope of being with Huamin in this lifetime? Suyu sat on the floor and leaned against the sofa. He looked at the little fish swimming around above his head and sighed. Are you telling the truth or lying? Tang Chuan seemed to still be clear-headed. Of course I'm telling the truth. If I'm lying, I'll say. You'll definitely have a chance, you can definitely do it. If I'm telling the truth, I'm afraid it'll be impossible. To be honest, looking at the current situation, even if Qin Chu dies, Huamin will probably be buried with him immediately. So, your chances are really slim. Do you know why I change women faster than I change clothes? I'm afraid that if I truly fall in love with someone, I'll be dead for sure. Love can really make a person wish he was dead. I'm really scared, so I'd rather not get married for the rest of my life. Although Tang Chuan didn't have the heart to say it, he still said it. Suyu didn't say anything. He held the beer and sighed softly. Actually, sometimes I think, even if I have to give up 10 years of my life, I want to be with her for a short period of time. Even if it's a short period of time, I want to live with her for a while. I want to see her smile every day, take care of her, that way. Suyu said what he wanted to say the most. He still wanted to be with Huamin. Even if only memories were left, he would be satisfied, so. Do you want us to team up and try to make Qin Chu suffer? Then, Huamin might be pressured into coming to you for a while. However, the premise is that you, me, and Old Wei must all work together. Only then will we have a chance of beating GK to the brink. Tang Chuan gave the best idea. Chapter 1300. Emichim, good idea. Suyu nodded his head repeatedly. Tang Chuan excitedly walked up to Suyu. Hey, Lord Su, let me tell you the details. When the time comes, we'll. Before Tang Chuan could finish, Suyu interrupted him. But that's too troublesome. Who knows how long it'll take? Why don't we ask my grandpa to send a secret agent down to assassinate Qin Chu, and end everything once and for all, Suyu said in all seriousness. That's not a bad idea, but killing someone is a bit. Tang Chuan seemed to have a lingering fear. You have two choices now. 1. Get out of my house immediately. 2. Get out of my house immediately. Tang Chuan was speechless. What kind of stupid idea is that? I, Suyu, am a righteous man. Why would I need to resort to such despicable means? Huamin will look down on me. Even if I want to defeat Qin Chu, I won't use such despicable means. I'm worse than a woman. Do you think I'm Huasiqin? Suyu was infuriated. Although Tang Chuan was doing it for his own good, what kind of stupid idea was that? How could he accept it? Moreover, compared to being with Huamin, he valued Huamin more than anything else. Therefore, he definitely wouldn't use any underhanded means to deal with Qin Chu. Business competition was also a good thing. Suyu didn't want to be looked down on by anyone, especially Huamin. Lord Su, please calm down. I was wrong. If that's the case, then why are you still so conflicted? Just fight Qin Chu fair and square. Even if you lose, you'll be fair and square. If you win, you'll just be lucky. Tang Chuan laughed. Suyu was so angry that he immediately gave Tang Chuan a headshot. What a bad friend. Suyu and Tang Chuan chatted and drank. That night, they drank all of Suyu's beer. They even drank 2 bottles of good vintage red wine. The next day, Tang Chuan blacked out. He lost his memory. He couldn't remember what happened yesterday at all. On the other hand, Suyu was so awesome that he woke up at 7 a.m. and drove to Imperial Star's headquarters for a morning meeting. This was the difference between an awesome person and a noob. Tang Chuan felt like he would never be able to reach Suyu's level in his lifetime. Worship. When Suyu walked out of the morning meeting, his assistant, Shaoan, walked over and reported, "President Su, the top 3 beauties selected by Madam have contacted me separately. 2 of them said that they want 2 duplex apartments under Imperial Star Real Estate. Each one is worth more than 3 million yuan. Here you go." Suyu was extremely generous. He always thought that anything that could be solved with money wasn't a problem at all. Suyu's mother had tricked Suyu and Suyu, so it was only right for Suyu to compensate her with a house. After all, Suyu had passed all the difficulties and stood out from 20,000 people. As for what they looked like, Suyu really couldn't remember. He had drunk too much last night. However, he knew that the 3 women all had one thing in common: they all looked like Huamin. This also showed that Lady Su really put a lot of thought into this. She was willing to go to this extent to please her son. And one of them said she wants a car. "What car does she want?" "I'll buy it." Suyu nodded. She wants your black Lamborghini 6th Element," Suyu said with a trembling voice. Suyu, on the other hand, was slightly surprised. His black 6th Element, which he had been driving for a long time, was a limited edition Lamborghini and was worth a lot of money. The most important thing was that Suyu had feelings for Suyu for several years. Tang Chuan wanted to buy it a few times, but Suyu refused to sell it, let alone give it away. "Who wants my car?" Suyu raised his head and looked at his assistant curiously. Chapter 1301. It's the Champion, Miss by Jingjing. Oh, that white bone demon. Suyu didn't remember anything else, but he remembered that this was the name of the white bone demon in Journey to the West, so it was especially easy to remember. "And tell her that if the 6th Element doesn't work, I can buy her a new Lamborghini." "Okay." And nodded and left. Suyu was puzzled. What was wrong with young girls these days? How could they ask for someone's favorite thing as soon as they opened their mouth? It seemed like only Huamin was the best. She never stole other people's favorite things. Thinking about Huamin, Suyu's gaze became gentle again. Monday morning, the 4S store sent back the repaired Audi R8 yesterday. Huamin was as happy as a child. She touched the car on the left and right. She really loved this car. Even if she bought another one, she wouldn't be as happy. This was a gift from Qin Chu. It was also a car that both of them loved. Huamin and Qin Chu were both Audi fans, so they kept a low profile. Compared to Lamborghini, Maserati, and Porsche, this brand wasn't as ostentatious. After getting the car back, Huamin could drive to work by herself. After the morning meeting at the hospital, Huamin began to see patients. She saw more than 10 patients in one morning. She really went all out. At noon, she worked overtime until 12:30 p.m. to organize the patient's information. When she finished, the restaurant was already out of food. She was debating whether to eat bread or order takeout would be more comfortable. Just then, she saw Hua Xiqian walking over. He was holding a lunchbox in his hand. "Workaholic, you don't have anything to eat, right?" Hua Xiqian chuckled. "How did you know?" Huamin stared at Hua Xiqian. She really didn't like how Hua Xiqian always acted like he knew everything. It made her feel very insecure. "Your assistant said so." "I haven't eaten yet either. I bought a lunchbox. Let's eat together." Huamin wanted to refuse. Hua Xiqian continued, "Why do you think the vegetarian dishes at Sufangzhai are so delicious? It's vegetarian food without any oil or meat, but it still tastes delicious." "You've bought food from Sufangzhai?" Huamin swallowed his saliva. "Yes." "Then, let's eat together." Huamian surrendered without any backbone. Together with Hua Xiqian, they took the lunchbox to the office. Sufangzhai had been open for many years, and it was a restaurant that specialized in vegetarian food. It would be full on the 1st and 15th day of the lunar month, as well as some Buddhist festivals, and people would have to line up, because the vegetarian food was delicious. Sufangzhai's name originated from a very popular TV series, Princess Pearl. At that time, Princess Pearl lived in a place called Sufangzhai. Later, the restaurant copied the name Sufangzhai, and it was really delicious. However, because it was located in a very remote location near Wansho Temple in the northernmost part of the city, the road there was very difficult to walk on, and the air was poor. There was also black smoke from factories everywhere, so Huamin rarely went there. She didn't expect Hua Xiqian to drive to such a place for takeout. The round trip would probably take 2 hours. That was why she said he was a pervert. Inside the office, Huamin lowered his head and ate silently without saying anything. Hua Xiqian ate while occasionally looking at Huamin. Every time he ate with Huamin, he would feel unusually happy. Even if he didn't say anything, he wouldn't feel awkward. Other than Huamin, no one else could give him a sense of security. The truth was, Hua Xiqian was someone who was even more insecure than Huamin. Since he was young, he had to look at other people's faces, and he knew that nothing belonged to him. To his biological parents, he was already an outsider. To the Hua family, he was still an outsider. Therefore, his cautiousness when he was young trained him to be extremely shrewd and calm that didn't match his age. In terms of being calm in the face of danger, he was very similar to Huamin. They were the kind of people who would remain calm even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of them. To put it bluntly, no matter what happened, he would always maintain a high level of arrogance. This was the aura of a king that most people didn't have, Mian. Hua Xiqian naturally removed the word sister, which actually made it easier to say. Yeah. Huamin raised his head reflexively. Chapter 1302. Are you going to snooker celebrity night? I don't know yet, it depends on Qin Chu. If he's going, then I'm going. Huamin decided to be Mr. Qin's doormat for the rest of his life. Ha! Qin Chu will definitely go, because the host is a famous Chinese tycoon, Mr. Li. This time, he invited celebrities from all walks of life, and it's a bit of a competition. Famous entrepreneurs and celebrities are all invited. Oh, isn't it just a game of pool? Is it really that big of a deal? Huamin wasn't really interested in business dinners. It's not as simple as a game of pool. The winner will get a 3-year contract with Jinjiang Corporation. What do you think? Huamin looked at Hua Xiqian in disbelief. How can someone be that crazy? Using a game of pool to decide a business partnership. Mr. Li loves to play pool. He thinks that playing pool is like being a human being. Only those with patience will succeed. So, Hua Xiqian didn't finish his sentence, but the result was obvious. Oh. Huamin nodded and continued eating. Mian, so, if I beat Qin Chu on snooker night, will you hate me? Hua Xiqian's question was extremely childish. It was completely out of line with his usual IQ. Why would I hate you? Huamin suddenly smiled. Hua Xiqian was mesmerized by Huamin's smile. Huamin rarely smiled at him so casually. Snooker is all about skill, whoever is better wins. I can't hate everyone just because someone beat Qin Chu. Your logic is really weird, that's good. Hua Xiqian smiled and then lowered his head to continue eating. After dinner, Hua Xiqian elegantly wiped the corner of his mouth and got up to leave. Hey, wait a second. Hua Xiqian turned around with one hand in his pocket. Well, you often give me gifts, face masks, eye masks, and so on. Occasionally, you even bring me a bento. I don't like to owe others. I know that you won't accept money even if I give you money, so I plan to give you something as well. For me. Hua Xiqian was a little surprised. He thought that Hua Min would always accept everything he gave with a clear conscience, so he was satisfied. He didn't expect that this girl would actually think of returning the gift. In fact, Hua Min didn't want to owe anyone anything. He always felt that politeness demands reciprocity. When others treat you well, this is friendship. Not everyone should treat you well for granted. Hua Min then took out a beautiful brocade box from the drawer. He placed it on the table. Haven't you been having trouble sleeping and headaches lately? I custom-made an eye massager for you. I always thought that headaches were mostly caused by eye fatigue. When you wear this massager, you can listen to music. The music inside is good for sleep. Also, I prescribed some medicine for you. It's all Chinese medicine that can help you sleep. There are no side effects, so you can take it without worry. If you don't believe me, you can ask a professional doctor to examine it. Hua Min knew that Hua Xiqian was a suspicious person and didn't trust others easily. When Hua Xiqian looked at the massager and medicine that Hua Min prepared, for the first time, he felt something warm flowing through his heart. He had never felt this magical feeling before. He slowly walked back and picked up the massager and the small medicine bottle. Then, he gently looked at Hua Min. This is the best gift I've ever received. Thank you, Mian. You're welcome. I'm just returning the favor. You've given me so many things before. They're worth a lot. Hua Xiqian took the things and walked out. Hua Min had mixed feelings. She wasn't someone who trusted others easily. When Hua Xiqian gave her eye masks, she didn't dare to use them. She even asked someone to identify the ingredients. It turned out that they were high-end skincare products under the Hua Corporation and were sold on the market as usual. There were no problems. Therefore, Hua Min suddenly felt that Hua Xiqian might not be hostile towards her. Therefore, after thinking for a long time, she still felt that she should return the favor. That way, she would feel more at ease. Otherwise, she wouldn't have any reason to accept all the gifts he kept giving her. In this world, only when Qin Chu treated her well could she accept it without any psychological burden. Because to her, Qin Chu was already her entire life. At night, Hua Min and Qin Chu sat across from each other at home for dinner. Honey, we're both invited to snooker celebrity night this Friday. Do you want to go with me? Chapter 1303. Hua Min slowly raised her head. What if I don't want to go, and I don't want you to go? Qin Chu gently smiled. Then neither of us will go. The night is long, and we can do some warm-up exercises at home. Mr. Qin's words were so subtle that even Hua Min blushed. Did that mean she was no longer pure? What are you talking about? Who wants to do warm-up exercises with you? Don't you feel ashamed? Hua Min covered her blushing face and accused Mr. Qin. Mr. Qin looked at her innocently. Honey, it's cold outside. Why wouldn't you feel ashamed to do some exercise and warm up at home? It's exercise. Hua Min lowered her head. What do you think? Qin Chu asked with a mischievous smile. Hua Min pretended to be an ostrich and buried her head in the plate, not saying another word. Qin Chu felt like his wife was too shy. She was always too shy to face the matters between men and women. That wouldn't do, he needed to educate her properly. After a while, Hua Mian raised her head, coughed, and said, Ahem. I'm just kidding. Snooker is pretty good. Let's go and play some pool to relieve our boredom. Whatever you say, honey. Hua Min had already heard from Hua Xiqian that the snooker celebrity night wasn't just for celebrities to play pool. Most importantly, it was hosted by Mr. Li, a Chinese tycoon. The purpose was to choose a business partner. Mr. Li's Jinjiang Group had businesses all over the world. Who wouldn't want to work with such a powerful company? Hua Min was just asking casually, she knew that Chin Chu really cared about her opinion and never cared about business. However, the more he cared about her, the more she wanted her husband's business to be successful. That way, she would feel a sense of accomplishment. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, Friday arrived. After Hwamian got off work, she drove straight to GK as usual. GK's stylist dressed her up, and the two of them went to the hotel where the event was held. In this late winter season, most female celebrities and socialites would wear fur coats when they attended banquets. Hwamin was a person who rejected fur, so why would he still wear a down jacket? No, it wasn't appropriate to wear casual clothes in an event like this, so Hwamian wore a suit. Like Chin Chu, she chose a black Korean-style mid-length suit with a buttonless cardigan. The material was high-end and thick, and the workmanship was exquisite. The hair was simply blown dry by the hairstylist. It turned into a fluffy version of Bobo, which was especially cute. She wore black cropped trousers, black diamond-studded heels, and a medium-length black suit with a white lining. Coupled with the light nude makeup, she immediately looked like a different person. She had a special temperament and was extremely refined and refreshing. It was the first time Chin Chu saw Hwamin dressed like this, and a trace of surprise flashed across his eyes. Who said that his wife wasn't a beauty? In his eyes, all the women in the world added together couldn't compare to Hwamin. Only when he saw her would his cold aura immediately warm up. His sharp gaze would become as gentle as water. TSK. A young lady's aura completely beats all the other female celebrities. Yang couldn't stop praising her. This guy was a bit of a straight man, so he didn't like women who wore revealing clothes. However, in recent years, this kind of dressing was popular. They would either show off their shoulders or their waists, or they would wear low-cut. However, he noticed that a young lady always dressed conservatively, but she wasn't old-fashioned. He had told his wife more than once that a young lady's dressing was amazing. Yang's wife would faintly say, "You have to be as awesome as President Chin first, then you can tell me what to wear." "Hey pretty lady, are you free tonight?" Chin Chu walked over and looked at Hwamin, making a rare joke. Chapter 1304. I don't have time. I'm going to play snooker with my husband. Chin Chu smiled and put one arm around Hwamin's shoulder. Under the gaze of the employees, they walked out. The employees behind them looked at them with envy. I used to think that a young lady wasn't stunning enough and wasn't good enough for our president. But now, I realize that a young lady's temperament is amazing. She's not afraid of anything and can even support our president. A high IQ is indeed different. Yes, our young lady is the type that's easy to look at. She's not like some women who look good at first glance, but become uglier the more you look at her. A young lady is the type that looks normal at first glance, but becomes more and more interesting the more you look at her. I'm starting to think that our president and his wife are a good match. Yeah. I've seen people online saying that our president should marry Miss Song, but I feel like Miss Song doesn't make people feel comfortable looking at her. It's like, she's not real. Anyway, I think a young lady is pretty good. She's not a busybody and is quite forgiving. She won't interfere with the company's business and is quite independent. There was a saying that time could always reveal a person's true nature. This saying was true. When news of Hwamin and Chin Chu's marriage was first announced, many people didn't understand Chin Chu and didn't think highly of Hwamin. Now that so much time had passed, more and more people began to like this low-key and capable girl. The entrance of Kempinski Hotel when Hwamin and Chin Chu arrived, the media surrounded them and took photos. Then, they let them go and walked down the red carpet. Hwamin's outfit this time also caused a huge commotion. Actually, she chose it herself. The stylist really wanted Hwamin to wear an evening gown because it was more elegant. However, Huamin thought that she might be able to play basketball on the court like Qin Chu. Wearing an evening gown was too inconvenient. She couldn't perform at all, therefore, she jumped around and thought that wearing a suit would be more dashing. In the end, she inadvertently became the most popular fashion trend of late winter. During a live broadcast that day, a fashion channel's host and a guest from the fashion industry had this conversation. Host, Miss Kai, which female celebrity's outfit was the best at tonight's snooker celebrity night? Aw, Kai, I can't tell what a female celebrity looks like. Most of them are wearing new gowns sponsored by luxury brands. I've seen most of them at European fashion shows, so I won't comment. However, I'm impressed by the young madam of GK. Host, oh. Suits trended this year. Her outfit was simple, elegant, and elegant. She was elegant's outfits, TSSS, SA Smart's pick, and elegant is. Elegance, TSSS. Indeed, Huamian's simple outfit became the center of attention. This made her feel very embarrassed. People kept taking photos of her, and in the end, she had to hide behind Qin Chu. Like a little girl, she shyly hid behind the person she liked. Qin Chu lovingly held her hand. President Qin, may I ask if I can take a picture with your wife? A socialite came out of nowhere and stood in front of Huamin and Qin Chu like a fan. Huamin awkwardly took 2 steps back. To be honest, this wasn't the result she wanted. She was just here to join in the fun with her husband. She didn't want to become the topic of conversation. Chapter 1305. Qin Chu could tell that Huamin was trying to avoid her, so he slowly refused. I'm sorry, my wife doesn't like to show her face. Oh, okay then. The socialite moved to the side, a little disappointed. Huamin, on the other hand, lowered her head and quietly followed behind Qin Chu, as if she was afraid that someone would notice her. Not far away, the Song sisters were furious when they saw what was going on. Hua Xiqin hated Song Yishe, so she would rather go in alone than with her. In the end, Song Yishe had no choice but to go with her cousin, Song Yishuan. The Song sisters were dressed very luxuriously. They wore evening gowns that cost more than 100,000 yuan, accompanied by a red and white fur coat. Song Yishe loved the color white and always liked to dress up like a fairy. It was as if that made her look more like a goddess. However, despite how well they dressed up, they still didn't become the center of attention. Instead, Huamin became the center of attention. His black suit instantly captured everyone's attention. Huamin is the most disgusting woman in the world. She's so fake. She always acts like she's innocent, but she's actually very scheming. She saw that we were all wearing evening gowns, so she purposely came up with something to attract attention. What a scheming bitch. Song Yishuan cursed. Whatever, let's avoid her tonight and don't cause any trouble. Song Yishe was a little annoyed, but she didn't forget to remind her cousin. After all, they lost the car race. She had to fulfill her promise to them, and wherever Huamin appeared, the Song sisters had to stay away from her. Song Yishe wasn't stupid, so she wasn't stupid enough to go up to Huamin and humiliate her. Song Yishuan could only insult Huamin, she didn't have the guts to go up to him. Su Yu arrived a little late. He came in with Tang Chuan. He didn't bring any of GK's female artists with him. The stars from GK and Imperial Star entered the venue in pairs. They were all there to promote their new movies. Ni Yang and Nemo Shui came in together. Annie Liang and Jiang Yi entered together. Jian Tong and Cotton Candy entered together. Wei Liao went in alone because Jiang Xiaowei wasn't there. Where's Xiaowei? Huamin was a little curious. This kind of occasion was quite interesting. Jiang Xiaowei should be here. She's not feeling well. She probably ate something wrong. She's been feeling nauseous, so she's resting at home. Are you alright? Do you need to go to the hospital? Huamin was a little worried. No need. She said she'll be fine after resting for a while. I've already hired a private doctor to check on her. That's good. Huamin nodded. You guys go ahead. I'll go check on Lord Su. After that, Wei Liao parted ways with Huamin and headed straight for Su Yu. Su Yu actually saw Huamin as soon as he walked in, but he couldn't keep staring at people, so he could only look elsewhere. However, this seemed a little pretentious. Lord Su, stop pretending, Huamin is over there. Do you want to go say hi? Wei Liao walked over with a glass of wine in his hand. It's okay. Su Yu felt like if he had to go say hi, Qin Chu would be embarrassed, Huamin would be embarrassed, and he would be embarrassed as well. So, he might as well not go. Then, Mr. Li arrived, and the atmosphere reached its climax. After Mr. Li's speech, he announced that snooker night was about to begin. The host announced the elimination rules. They would draw lots to choose their opponents, and whoever won 3 rounds in a row would advance to the finals. After the finals, the 2 players would compete against each other, and the winner would be chosen. The winner would sign a contract on the spot. Qin Chu didn't actually care if he could work with Mr. Li or not. He was only here because Mr. Li had already met with him before. Qin Chu only came because Mr. Li admired him and hoped that he could participate. He was giving Mr. Li face. So, he didn't want to win like he did at Venice Cruise Night. During the draw, Su Yu suddenly raised his hand in front of everyone. I forfeit. Lord Su. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan said in unison. They didn't expect Su Yu to forfeit before the game even started. Huamin was also a little surprised. She looked at Su Yu through the crowd. Chapter 1306. President Su, this. Even the MC was clearly in a dilemma. What? Can't I? Su Yu asked domineeringly. No, it's not that you can't. I just think it's a pity. Mr. Li, I've heard that President Su is a good player, but I'm not in the mood to play tonight. Su Yu sucked on a lollipop that he got from God knows where. His attitude was extremely arrogant. This Su Yu was like the Su Yu that Huamin first met. He was extremely arrogant and insolent. Okay, then I'll now announce. President Su of Imperial Star has voluntarily forfeited. After the MC made the announcement, no one had time to think about it. The competition officially began, and many people signed up that night. These rich people all wanted to try their luck. What if they won? It was a chance to work with Mr. Li for 3 years. However, most of the participants were men. Very few women were good at billiards, especially the difficult game of snooker. Therefore, after Huamin signed up and went on the court, he realized that there were less than 10 women in the competition. However, the Song sisters were among them. This wasn't strange, as the sisters were always the type to go wherever there was a need. They were always afraid that they wouldn't be able to attract attention. Huamin was used to it, but why did Su Yu forfeit? This wasn't in line with his personality at all. Confused, Huamin went on the court with his cue stick and began the 3 rounds of elimination. Tang Chuan and Wei Liao both went on the court, so they didn't have time to ask Su Yu why he forfeited. Su Yu sat calmly on the side like a spectator, watching others play. After 3 rounds, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan came down during halftime. Lord Su, what's going on? Tang Chuan asked. Why did you forfeit? This isn't your style. Wei Liao was also puzzled. Su Yu calmly picked up an apple and took a bite. I just don't want it to be the same as last time. After Tang Chuan and Wei Liao heard this, they looked at each other and immediately understood. Then, Siyu continued, she definitely wants Qin Chu to win, so if I go up and win, she'll be disappointed. If he loses, then there's no point for me to go up. I don't want to be cannon fodder. At the end of the day, you're still afraid that if you beat Qin Chu, Huamin will be angry, right? Tang Chuan was a little frustrated. You can't say that. Huamin isn't such a petty person. I think Lord Su doesn't want to end up in a PK with Qin Chu like last time. After all, Huamin will always be on Qin Chu's side. There's no need to torture himself like that. Suyu nodded. The few of them immediately understood what was going on. After 3 rounds, only 20 people advanced to the next round, and they were divided into 10 groups. The next round was one-on-one PK, and they were free to choose their opponents. Song Yishuan was already eliminated, so Song Yishu advanced to the next round. This wasn't surprising. Huamin thought that Song Yishu would definitely choose her, but to her surprise, she didn't. Song Yishu calmly glanced at her and said, I choose Ni Yang. The truth was, Song Yishu wasn't stupid. She had suffered too much at the hands of Huamin. Later on, she concluded that Huamin was indeed a smart woman. No matter what she did, she was very good at it. Plus, since Huamin dared to take the initiative to participate, it meant that she wasn't an ordinary person. Although Song Yishu played well, she still didn't want to lose to Huamin in front of so many people. That would be really embarrassing. Ha! Ni Yang only said 3 words in response to Song Yishu's provocation. From Ni Yang's perspective, Song Yishu chose him because she was afraid that she couldn't beat Huamin. But was he someone who was easy to bully? Then, Ni Yang walked past Huamin with a pool cue and said in a low voice, Sis, wait for me. I'll avenge you. I'll definitely torture Song Yishu to death. Ni Yang's words made Huamin not know whether to laugh or cry. Just as she was lamenting Ni Yang's words, she suddenly heard a man's voice say, I choose Huamin. Chapter 1307. Huamin turned his head in surprise and saw that it was Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi was a complicated person. He came all the way from Jing City just to work with Qin Chu and enter the European and American markets. However, a few days ago, he signed a huge contract with Imperial Star and became GK's rival. Moreover, he shamelessly challenged a young lady of GK. This was a mystery. Huamin didn't care. He would fight whoever he fought. Therefore, she walked over with a pool cue in her hand. Annie Liang and Jian Tong were rivals, and they would compete with each other wherever they went. Especially in recent years, Jian Tong had become more popular, so Annie Liang was jealous of her. Unintentionally, these 2 rivals were paired together. On the other hand, Tang Chuan and Wei Liao were paired with some older celebrities. In the end, only Hua Xiqian and Qin Chu were left. Hua Xiqian walked over with one hand in his pocket and smiled. President Qin, let's have a match. His tone was gentle, but his eyes were challenging. Qin Chu knew that Hua Xiqian seemed to have been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. He seemed to have wanted to have a match with him for a long time. However, Siyu had always been there, so he hadn't made a move yet. Faced with Hua Xiqian's challenge, Qin Chu only replied with one word proudly. Okay. Show me what you've got. I want to see if the man Mian likes is as good as he seems. Hua Xiqian sneered. Then, he picked up his cue stick and walked past Qin Chu. The 20 people had an exciting match on the 10 tables. There were more than 500 people watching from all walks of life. There were also countless people watching in front of the TV. Although it wasn't as formal as the professional snooker players, it was still exciting. Jian Tong and Annie Liang's sparks flew as soon as they started. They looked like they were going to eat each other up. However, the truth was that they weren't very good. The only reason they were able to advance to the next round was because their opponents were too focused on their beauty to play. so they lost. Everyone knew that the most interesting players were Hua Xichen and Qin Chu. The Hua Corporation wanted Mr. Li's 3-year contract. GK wanted it too. Qin Chu didn't say anything, but he didn't want to lose to Hua Xichen. As a spectator, Siyu didn't feel any pressure and just watched calmly. However, unlike others, he didn't care who would win, Hua Xichen or Qin Chu. He wanted to see Hua Mian play basketball. He had never seen her play so well before. It was at this moment, it was the right decision. Qin Chu, Hua Mian, Qin, and Qin Esjin Tong and Annie Liang were in formal wear, so their postures were limited and they couldn't play to their fullest potential. For example, in evening gowns, when they lowered their heads, their cleavage would be exposed. Their postures weren't good either. The same went for Song Yisher. Hua Min, on the other hand, was very steady as soon as the match started. She hit 3 balls in a row, and all of them went in. Jiang Yi didn't even have a chance to make a move. When Hua Min hit a difficult ball, she gestured in a few directions, but she didn't think it was safe enough. In the end, she used a pole vaulting method. She had the white ball jump up and hit the target ball with 1 ball between them. Then, it slowly entered the hole. Just then, the camera in front of the TV swept over them. Everyone watching couldn't help but clap. The live commentators were also very excited. Lady Qin's skills were amazing at the beginning. On the 4th ball, she used a difficult pole vaulting method. It was so beautiful. Su Yut stared at Hua Min without blinking. His eyes were filled with unconcealable love and admiration. So, Hua Min, you're not going to save any face for me? Jiang Yi rubbed his nose and helplessly asked with a smile. He liked Hua Min, so he didn't want to work for Qin Chu and signed with Imperial Star. He signed her up to play because he wanted to have more opportunities to spend time with her. However, he didn't think that she would be this good. She didn't save any face for him. If this continued, the match would be over before he even got on the court. Because Hua Min was going to clear the table. Chapter 1308. Hua Min calmly glanced at his face. I don't know you that well, why should I give you face? Jiang Yi was speechless. Hua Min was the type of person who didn't leave any leeway for others. With one sentence, Jiang Yi was rendered completely speechless. To Hua Min, Jiang Yi was a complete stranger. Whether he signed with GK or not, it had nothing to do with her. Hua Min played billiards when he was young, and later, he learned about snooker. However, he didn't practice it on purpose. A few years ago, he would occasionally play a few rounds with Zhu Lingling. He didn't think that he would still be good at it. Jiang Yi wanted to take this opportunity to interact with Hua Mian and say a few words to her during the break. However, to his surprise, this girl cleared the table in just a few moves. She didn't give him a chance. In a game like this, whoever started first had a higher chance of winning, so for the sake of fairness, the players were decided by drawing lots. In the other group, Song Yisher was quite lucky. She was the first to go on stage. However, her skills were far inferior to Hua Min's. After 2 shots, she missed the 3rd one. Although Ni Yang wasn't an expert, he was more than capable of dealing with Song Yisher. That was why he dared to promise Hua Min that he would help her torture Song Yisher. You're actually quite an interesting person. You're afraid of losing to my sister and embarrassing yourself, so you chose me to be your punching bag, right? Unfortunately, my skills are just a little bit better than yours, so, just wait for me to torture you. Before Ni Yang started playing, he said this to Song Yisher. She was so angry that her face turned pale. However, Ni Yang was a man of his word. He didn't give Song Yisher a chance to retaliate and slowly cleared the table. Song Yisher was wearing an evening gown and a fur shawl. She stood on the side like a flower vase. Cousin, how could you make such a mistake? Now they've got the chance. I'm so worried. Song Yishuan was anxious but couldn't do anything to help. Jian Tong and Annie Liang had similar skills, but Jian Tong had a higher EQ, so she always said things that made people angry to provoke Annie Liang, causing her to make mistakes. Do you think you can sit back and relax after going to GK? Unfortunately, President Qin doesn't like you, so you won't stand a chance even if you go. Anyway, you're useless at Imperial Star, and President Su doesn't like you either. If I were you, I would have retired from the entertainment industry a long time ago. After all, I'm getting old. Jian Tong said with a smile. Liang Annie was so angry that her hands were trembling. She gestured for a long time, but she still hadn't scored a single goal. On the other hand, Jian Tong had already scored 2 consecutive points. Hua Xiqian had actually planned to meet Qin Chu in the finals. However, he suddenly changed his mind. He felt that it would be more interesting if he eliminated Qin Chu now. He could really take away his limelight, so they met in the 10th group. When Qin Chu came today, he thought that he would be at odds with Su Yu, just like last time at Venice. However, to his surprise, Su Yu forfeited, and Hua Xiqian took the initiative to provoke him. However, he wasn't too surprised. Hua Xiqian had been hostile towards Qin Chu for a long time. He could clearly feel that. At the same time, he also felt that Hua Xiqian didn't have good intentions towards Hua Min. Qin Chu was much more cautious against Hua Xiqian than he was against Su Yu. He knew that Su Yu was a straightforward person and wouldn't play dirty. However, Hua Xiqian was different. He was capable of anything. There were some things that others didn't know, but he knew. Rick's men had been keeping an eye on Hua Xiqian, even though they didn't have any concrete evidence. However, he definitely had something to do with Hua Xinghai's death. However, Qin Chu didn't tell Hua Min about this. He didn't want Hua Min to worry, nor did he want Hua Min to get involved in this smoke-filled battlefield. Qin Chu was very lucky. He drew the starting line, so his hands were very smooth and he scored 5 consecutive points. At this rate, the table was going to be cleared, and Hua Xiqian was going to lose for sure. Just as Qin Chu was about to score the 6th point, Hua Xiqian lowered his head and whispered in his ear, "I heard that you've been investigating Mion's background." Chapter 1309. Qin Chu's hand trembled slightly, and the force of his shot deviated a bit. Then, the ball almost stopped at the hole. It didn't go in. Qin Chu made a mistake. Everyone in the audience sighed. They all thought that Qin Chu would be able to beat Hua Xiqian. Damn, what's going on? Qin Chu only got his 6th shot. Tang Chuan, who had just finished his game and returned to the resting area, was obviously disappointed by Qin Chu's mistake. "I think something happened," Wei Liao analyzed. Su Yu turned around and looked at the slow-motion replay on the big screen. Then, he slowly said, "I don't know what Hua Xiqian said to Qin Chu, but he got distracted. Something that could distract a 1,000-year iceberg like Qin Chu. It must be something important, right?" Tang Chuan guessed. "Could it be something to do with Hua Min?" Wei Liao added. Su Yu didn't say anything, but he already knew the answer in his heart. Over the past few days, he couldn't say that he understood Qin Chu's powerful opponent very well. However, he knew one thing, and that was that Qin Chu only cared about Hua Min. That was something that nothing could compare to. Therefore, Hua Xiqian's words must have something to do with Hua Min. Otherwise, someone as steady as Qin Chu wouldn't get distracted so easily. Hua Min was in the middle of a game when he heard the audience gasp. She couldn't help but look up at the big screen. Hua Min was a bit surprised when he saw Mr. Qin make a mistake. How is that possible? She had experienced Mr. Qin's skills before, when they were dating in high school. they would sometimes skip class and go out to play. They would occasionally go to the billiard hall. Back then, when they played, everyone in the hall would come and watch. Because he played too well, when they were young, it was inevitable that they would show off their skills. Everyone was flabbergasted. For Chin-Chu, as long as he was given the opportunity to start, he would definitely clear the stage. There was no doubt about it. But why did he make a mistake? When Hwa-min was distracted, he also made a mistake. The ball did not go in. Jiang Yi finally had a chance to turn things around. Wow, you made a mistake. Jiang Yi smiled proudly. Hwa-min turned around and glanced at his face. Even if I make a mistake, you can't beat me. That confident. Jiang Yi stared at Hwa-min's face with interest. Because you don't have the ability to clear the table. Hwa-min sneered. Hwa-min's disdain angered Jiang Yi's pride as a man. He was more than 10 years older than Hwa-min and was considered a superstar of the older generation in the entertainment industry. Even a big shot like Imo Shui treated him with respect. But now, he was being mocked by a little girl. Jiang Yi was furious. He gripped the pool cue tightly, aimed, and exerted force. In the end, he was disappointed, but the ball did not go in. This was within Hwa-min's expectations. Hwa-min was a neurologist and often dealt with neurological patients. He was similar to Jiang Shaowei and was especially good at analyzing people's minds. She purposely disdained Jiang Yi and angered him, causing him to lose his composure and lose his game. It was a psychological tactic. Unlike Hua Xiqian's was a despicable threat. He knew that Chin-Chu cared about helping Hwa-min find out his background, but he still brought it up at a time like this. Jiang Yi and Hwa-min are basically going to win. Hwa-min is going to crush him, Tang Chuan analyzed after taking a sip of water. Wei Liao looked to the other side and smiled with his arms crossed. Ni Yang is also going to crush Song Yisher. Finally, when it was Su Yu's turn to summarize, he said in all seriousness, Chin-Chu is going to lose. Hua Xiqian is definitely going to win. No way. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan clearly didn't believe him. Chapter 13:10. Just watch, Hua Xiqian is playing mind games. He's grasped Chin-Chu's weakness and will keep attacking. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan had always thought that Su Yu and Chin-Chu were on the same level. Hua Xiqian was on a lower level than the two of them. That was why they had always underestimated him. They thought that he was just a rich man who relied on his status as an adopted son to get rich. However, Su Yu didn't think so. He had known Hua Xiqian for 3 or 4 years now. They weren't good friends, but they were quite familiar with each other. They would often run into each other at nightclubs and drink together. Su Yu had long known that this person was ambitious. He wasn't as simple as he seemed on the surface. Today, he took the initiative to provoke Chin-Chu, which meant that he was confident in winning. Although Su Yu said so, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan still had some doubts. This was because Hua Xiqian's skills weren't very good. At most, they were decent. However, compared to the supermasters like Hwa-min, Chin-Chu, and Su Yu, he was still quite a distance away. As expected, Hua Xiqian couldn't play after 2 shots. The ball deviated from its course. It was still quite a distance away from the hole. The ball once again fell into Chin-Chu's hands. He picked up the pool cue, regained his prestige, and began to make consecutive shots. However, as expected, Hua Xiqian didn't stop talking beside Chin-Chu's ear. You better stop investigating, it won't do Mian any good, it seems like you know everything. Chin-Chu wasn't surprised because he and Hwa-min had already guessed that Hua Xiqian knew about it. Yes, I do know a lot, so. Chin-Chu raised his eyebrows and looked at Hua Xiqian. So, do you want to consider losing to me? Maybe I'm willing to say more. Hua Xiqian smiled confidently. On the other hand, it was a 3-year contract with Mr. Li. On the other hand, it was the mystery of Huamin's birth. How would Qin Chu choose? Needless to say, it was definitely the second one. Because in Qin Chu's eyes, nothing could be more important than Huamin's matter. Therefore, he deliberately tilted the ball and missed it again. Huamin, who wasn't far away, couldn't help but feel nervous when he saw Qin Chu's repeated mistakes. What was Hua Xichen up to? Why did Mr. Qin keep making mistakes? This was absolutely impossible, unless his emotions were affected, or he lost on purpose. Amidst the questioning voices, all 10 groups were finished. When the results were announced, everyone was surprised that Qin Chu actually lost. Oh my god, Lord Su, you're a fortune teller. It's just as you predicted. Tang Chuan exclaimed that Su Yu's guess was spot on. Su Yu calmly looked at the scene. It was exactly as he predicted. The remaining 5 people were Hua Xichen, Ni Yang, Huamin, Tang Chuan, and Jian Tong. However, in terms of points, the other 3 completely lost. Huamin was far ahead, while Hua Xichen beat Tang Chuan by a hair's breadth. This made Tang Chuan very unhappy. He couldn't stop cursing. Forget it, you know that if it weren't for Hua Xichen's tricks, and if Qin Chu advanced, you wouldn't have made it to the final round either. In the end, it would still be Qin Chu and Huamin. Wei Liao comforted him. At the critical moment of the competition, only Hua Xichen and Huamin were left. This pair of brother and sister in name were at each other's throats. Hey, guess who's going to win? I think Huamin's going to win. That girl is really good, she cleared the entire stage. Someone said. I think Hua Xichen's going to win. He beat Qin Chu, he's really something. There were all kinds of comments. Huamin was afraid that Qin Chu would be in a bad mood, so she walked over in front of everyone. She wrapped her arms around his waist and said coquettishly, "Honey, don't be sad. I'll win it for you in the final round." Huamin thought that Qin Chu was sad because he was worried about Mr. Li's contract. Chapter 13:11. Don't feel too pressured. Just do your best. I don't care about Mr. Li's contract. Qin Chu gently stroked Huamin's hair by her ear, his tone extremely gentle. He really didn't care. If it weren't for Mr. Li, he wouldn't have even come. Why would he care about the contract? He was distracted just now because he wanted to help Mian find out the truth about her background, because this was the biggest knot in Huamin's heart. So many people were watching, but Qin Chu and Huamian acted as if no one was around. It was as if they only had eyes for each other, which made the host very envious. People have been saying that President Qin is a henpecked man, and it seems like they're not baseless. Although President Qin lost to President Hua, he was able to get the safety of his beloved wife. I have to say, it's a blessing. I heard that Qin Chu and Huamian were childhood sweethearts. They were so passionate when they were in high school. Someone whispered in the crowd. Yeah, I heard about it too. They were both students at second high. Lady Qin was the top scholar of her year and got into second high with the highest score. She's awesome. I also heard that they broke up for some reason and President Qin went abroad. But when he came back, he immediately married Lady Qin. Look at them, this is true love. Not many people can be together with their high school sweetheart. Everyone chimed in one after another. This was the first time Huamin was so shameless as to act coquettishly with Qin Chu in front of so many people. She smiled at Qin Chu, afraid that he would be in a bad mood, so she kept trying to make him laugh. Huamin is too much. She's torturing us in public in such a formal setting. Tang Chuan complained. Wrong. She's not torturing us, she's torturing Lord Su. Wei Liao said in all seriousness. Su Yu seemed to be used to their teasing, so he didn't say anything. However, when Huamin hugged Qin Chu with both hands and acted coquettishly, he subconsciously looked away. That scene was too beautiful. He couldn't bear to look, although he already knew that Huamin didn't belong to him. Seeing her in Qin Chu's arms, blossoming gentleness, he still felt a dull ache in his heart. After coaxing Mr. Qin Chu for a while, the time was right. Huamian changed her cue stick and returned to the ultimate PK stage valiantly. So many people were watching their final showdown. Hua Xichen was his SSSS he's. Back then, he he's TSSS. TTST she's TTT that made it even easier for him. Mian, you have to go easy on him later. Hua Xichen didn't know when, but he stopped calling Hua Mian little sister. It was just too simple, Mian, but he felt warm every time he called her that. Hua Min quietly glanced at him. Don't worry, since we're both Huas, I won't let you lose too badly. Upon hearing this, Hua Xichen smiled brightly. He liked how unbridled Hua Min was, as if he was the only one who could do it. From afar, Song Yishe observed Hua Xichen's expression. She suddenly said with a complicated expression, when he's facing Hua Min, his entire person changes. Chapter 13:12. Song Yishe was right. Although Hua Xichen usually smiled, it was just a fake smile. It never came from his heart. He was a person that no one could see through, and no one knew what he was truly thinking. Just like how he wasn't excited at all even though he was in control of the whole corporation. It was as if everything was meant to be his. However, when he faced Hua Min, he was different. Song Yishe used to think that Hua Xichen and Hua Min were working together and using each other. However, just now, she carefully observed Hua Xichen's micro-expressions. She was shocked to discover that this wasn't the case. Did Hua Xichen put in so much effort to set up this big show? Was it really for Mr. Li's 3-year contract? It was hard to say. Maybe it was for something else. Hua Xichen looked at Hua Min with such an honest and warm smile that Song Yishe was shocked. To Song Yishe, Hua Xichen was the devil. However, to Hua Min, he was a nice guy. Hua Xichen's signature on WeChat was very special. In the past, Song Yishe only thought that he wrote it casually. However, she felt that it was different now. There was a saying, don't ever get to know me from other people, because I'm not the same to everyone. Could it be that? Hua Xichen and Hua Min. Song Yishe wasn't sure. Cousin, what's wrong? Song Yishuan asked curiously when she saw her cousin's strange expression. I just had a crazy idea. What idea? Song Yishuan was even more curious. I'm not sure yet. I have to see the results of the competition. Song Yishe thought that if Hua Xichen really liked Hua Min, then, the winner of this competition was already set. Hua Min would definitely win. However, if Hua Xichen cared more about benefits, then he would definitely think of a way to win against Hua Min. If he wanted to deal with someone, he had thousands of ways to deal with them. Even someone as calm as Qin Chu was about to break down because of him. Dealing with Hua Min was something that could be done in a matter of minutes, right? The question was, did Hua Xichen want to deal with Hua Min? This was the key question. After analyzing the situation, Song Yishe suddenly felt like the finals. Therefore, she paid more attention to their micro-expressions. Qin Chu took a small sip of his champagne and watched the scene calmly. He didn't know how Hua Xichen would deal with Hua Mian. Woods to Hua Min, Hua Min's Huases, Hua Min's Hua Xichen would get the 3-year contract. However, Qin Chu had the same thought as Song Yishe. He didn't think that Hua Xichen's goal was to win against Hua Min. Therefore, the outcome of the competition was uncertain. Lord Su, let's bet on big or small. Ha! I'll bet on Hua Min, Tang Chuan laughed. I'll bet on Hua Min too, Wei Liao quickly added. After 5 seconds of silence, Siyu calmly said, I'll bet on Huamin too. Fuck, all 3 of them are betting on the same thing. What's the point? There's no stakes. Don't tell me you guys don't think Hua Xichen will win. He's the dark horse that beat Qin Chu. Tang Chuan deliberately led them on. Then you can bet on Hua Xichen. Siyu didn't mince words. Tang Chuan, because the 2 of them were in the finals, they attracted a lot of attention as soon as the game started. Huamin was unlucky and didn't get to start, therefore, Hua Xichen had the right to start the game. He picked up a pool cue and casually started the game. It was just like playing billiards, without any pressure at all. However, the atmosphere in the stadium was extremely tense. At the center of the stage, an old man with a serious expression suddenly asked his assistant, What's the background of the little girl that's going up against the president of the Hua Corporation? Chapter 13:13. President Li, that's the wife of GK's CEO, President Qin. His assistant was smart enough to do a thorough investigation. Apparently, when Mr. Li wanted to invest in Sea City, he did a lot of research on famous people. He was the most interested in GK because the CEO was too young. Of course, Siyu from Imperial Star was also one of the best. However, Siyu was only in the entertainment industry and didn't cover a lot of people. Therefore, Mr. Li was more inclined to work with Qin Chu, which was why they met before the game. They had a great conversation. Mr. Li was over 60 years old, and he became one of the richest men in China because he had met countless people. Qin Chu, on the other hand, had a high IQ, a high EQ, and a good upbringing. Mr. Li admired him a lot. Although they just lost the game, Mr. Li wasn't disappointed. Mr. Li smiled when he heard that President Qin's wife was the last to enter the finals. It seems like this couple isn't simple at all, Mr. Li commented with a smile. After Huamin went on the court, he no longer smiled at Qin Chu. While Hua Xichen was playing basketball, Su Qingsang watched his tactics and playstyle attentively. Hua Xichen wasn't that skilled. After making 2 consecutive shots, the third one was in a difficult position. He only missed by a little bit. Huamin's chance came. TSK, this girl would clear the table as soon as she got the chance. I thought I was the worst, but it looks like Hua Xichen is even worse than me. Jiang Yi laughed at Hua Xichen's misfortune. Mo Shui, on the other hand, was calm. What's so bad about him? This is all part of his plan. He likes to play everyone in the palm of his hand, that's what he enjoys, so he doesn't care if he wins or loses. Mo Shui sneered. She loved Hua Xichen too much, so she knew him too well. He didn't care about the result at all, but rather the fun of the game itself. Mo Shui's heart sank when she saw Hua Xichen smile at Huamin. Even when she slept with him, he refused to give her such a warm smile. It was as if she was just a tool for him to vent. Once he was done with her, he didn't need to look at her again. So, compared to Huamin, she was the most pitiful, right? I'm sure you want your boyfriend to win, right? Jiang Yi asked Mo Shui with a smile. Well, at least I'm better than your untouchable goddess. Mo Shui mocked. Jiang Yi was speechless. Mo Shui had always referred to Huamin as a goddess because Jiang Yi's heart was itching for her. Not to mention touching her, he didn't even have the chance to talk to her. For a character like Jiang Yi, Huamin was someone on the altar, too far away. Even a big shot like Siyu had to step aside, let alone a small character like Jiang Yi. She felt that she was a big shot, but in Huamin's world, she was the lowest of the low. She didn't even need to think about how to torture him, it could be done in minutes. Everyone quietly watched the match. Huamin was calm and collected, neither arrogant nor impatient. One after another, 4 people entered the arena. This finals is boring, there's no suspense at all. It's basically Huamin bullying Hua Xiqin, Tang Chuan yelled. Not necessarily. The best part is yet to come. I'm afraid that Hua Xiqin is going to do the same thing again. If he can mess up Qin Chu with a few words, then Huamin might do the same. Wei Liao was smart as he analyzed Hua Xiqin's tactics. Now, let's see if Hua Xiqin has the heart to do anything to Huamin, Wei Liao continued. Su Yu was a little nervous as he watched. He picked up his bottle of water and took a big gulp. Then, he quietly watched Huamin, who was wearing a black suit and looking so neat and tidy. Just as Huamin was aiming for the fifth ball, Hua Xiqin suddenly bent down and said something. When Qin Chu saw this, his expression changed slightly. He was afraid that Hua Xiqin would use the same method to deal with Huamin. His worst fears came true. I really want to know what Hua Xiqin said to make Huamin's face darken. Tang Chuan stood up excitedly, gossiping. Chapter 13-14. Even Qin Chu was nervous. He didn't know what Hua Xiqin said to Huamin. Maybe it had something to do with Huamian's identity. Hua Xiqin leaned over and whispered into Huamin's ear. His words easily made Huamin's face darken. What he said was, Mian, 7 years have passed, and you're still at A. Haven't you gone through puberty yet? Huamin never thought that Hua Xiqin would say something so frivolous in a situation like this. Plus, she was already at B, okay? Huamin coldly retorted, when did you go blind? Hua Xiqin, then, Huamin ignored Hua Xiqin and continued to play the ball calmly, one shot at a time without a single mistake. The balls of all colors went into the hole in order. Finally, the black ball made a beautiful spin. After the black ball spun a few times, it rolled steadily into the hole. Then, the audience erupted into applause. Tsk tisk. It's so embarrassing to lose to a girl like you. It's not embarrassing to lose to the champion, you're the runner-up after all. Huamin's words were infuriating. Hua Xiqin didn't know what to say with that one sentence. Song Yisher's face gradually darkened. I knew it, that's what he was thinking. Song Yisher clenched her fists so tightly that her knuckles turned white. She finally understood. Hua Xiqin didn't like her, but he set her up to marry him. It was all because of Huamin. In the past, she thought that Hua Xiqin and Huamin were driven by their own interests. That was why they set her up. Now, it seemed like Hua Xiqin was a love-struck type. He liked Huamin. In order to avenge Huamin, he married her and brought her home to torture her. At this thought, Song Yisher was furious. She felt blood rush to her head. Hua Xiqin. Huamin. I won't let you go. I'll make you die a horrible death. Song Yisher swore to herself. Siyu finally let out a sigh of relief when he saw that Huamin had won. It was as if he could only feel at ease after Huamin's assassination. Leaked, there's nothing left to watch. Siyu didn't want to watch anymore. He just wanted Huamian to win. So, he turned around and stood up. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan followed behind him. Mr. Li was obviously very happy. When he presented the trophy, he even took a picture with Huamin and Qin Chu. A young lady of GK won first place at the snooker celebrity night. This news took over all the major media outlets in the city. She just wanted to do her husband a favor, but she didn't expect it to be so high profile. President Qin, you're so lucky to have such a great wife, Mr. Li praised. Qin Chu hugged Huamin's shoulder lovingly. Thank you, Mr. Li. I heard you guys have been together since high school. Yeah, we've been together for many years. Qin Chu's words made it sound like they had been married for a long time. Huamin smiled slightly and leaned into Qin Chu's arms, enjoying the joy of victory. I'm looking forward to working with GK for the next 3 years. Me too, let's wait and see. Qin Chu elegantly shook Mr. Li's hand. After the game, on the way home, Chin Chu lovingly patted Huamin's head. Honey, thank you for your hard work. It's nothing. Huamin playfully winked. TSK TSK. My great wife is so mighty, it seems like I'll have to live off of you from now on. Chin Chu laughed. No problem, I'll take care of you. Huamin was very emotional. The two drove all the way back to South Hill Manor. When they were almost home, Chin Chu asked tentatively, Mian, what did Hua Xichen say to you when we were playing? You're tuning in to the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.